of the BSL 10. I am Nyokin, and we are joined by not just the Big Jip today. We've got the whole crew. We've got Ollie Patrick, Death Fate, our Spanish casters, and we are joined also by our two semifinalists, Bonyth and eOnzErG. How's it going, guys?
Hey, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
So we are going to be doing a pre-game interview today, so a little bit different. Let's start off with eOnzErG, because yesterday you came off of a solid victory versus eOnzErG. I think the Polypoid game was the best game you've played all tournament. You've really turned it on in the past 2 weeks. So what are your thoughts going into the semifinals versus Bonyth today?
I think it's gonna be a very hard final for me. Probably out performing my projected run on this BSL. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very hard. So if you remember well, I lose in the group stages. Was it 1-2? I think, yeah.
Yep.
And in the round robin, I lose 0-2. So yeah, we are not doing great. I'm not gonna lie. So I think is Dewalt and Bonyth are in a really good shape. Like probably to be contenders on any tournament. So I think it's gonna be hard, but I'm going to try. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think you definitely have a good shot. You took out eOnzErG yesterday, looked really good. I liked your lurker play on Benzene. I like how that was the last game. Kind of put some thoughts into Bonyth, like, hey, I can mix it up. And I'm sure he's thinking about the lurker bust that you pulled out versus him earlier. So let's go into Bonyth now. So what are your thoughts going into the semifinals, especially after seeing eOnzErG yesterday, who looked really, really good?
Well, pre-interviews are weird this way because you don't really want to tell your opponent what you're thinking. So yeah, I don't want to play mind games. So I can just conclude it with, well, shape of the day is important. That's definitely a huge part of StarCraft. And then just preparation. So you're fine just physically and mechanically on that given day. And what's else to say? I always aim to win.
Yeah, you are our defending champion. And if you are making it past eOnzErG, are going to be going up against Dewalt, who looks really, really good. So let's go into Mihai. You have any questions for our players?
Not really. I mean, I'm very aware that, both players are kind of ready here to play, and, it depends on how much mind games they want to play. And Bonyth doesn't seem like he really wants to get into that. I was going to ask him how he feels about eOnzErG after seeing his complete obliteration of eOnzErG yesterday, because, but eOnzErG, actually, I will just say this then, or both players really, given what happened yesterday, given the fact that, I mean, eOnzErG just had such a great showing against eOnzErG, and eOnzErG was obviously one of the kind of top contenders in this tournament, and his PvZ looked really good. He came out of that really crazy Zerg group with Gornish, True Touch, and Siki. How do you guys feel about this match given yesterday's result? I mean, eOnzErG, you must feel very confident. How did you feel yesterday against eOnzErG? Did you feel like you were going to win? Did you feel like nervous playing him?
No, I wasn't nervous because like I say, and this is not a mind. People are probably thinking this is a mind game, but you need to understand from my thinking is like I started playing very early on the guys that are the most stronger guys. Okay, so when you are getting this reality check, you need to step back a bit and adapt to the situation, because the games wasn't even close, honestly. So I'm not going to imagine getting just destroyed like that and come here and say, yeah, I'm going to destroy these guys now. Like, it's not gonna, they don't have any chance. I could be like that, but I'm gonna be lying to myself. So I need to be realistic. And I think against Soja, Actually, I think I was a bit lucky. First game against him, I don't really understand how I won that. Like super chaotic game. It looked so bad for me the whole game, and all of a sudden, do you have like 40 Hydras killing you? I don't know how to explain that. But if I'm honest with you, I think someone like Oya probably had a better chance to beat Bonnie on the world. It's my honest opinion. No, not trying to play my games here.
That's a fair question, or a fair answer rather. And Bonyth, just on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you feeling today in this matchup and then potentially next matchup?
No, I'm gonna dodge this question.
Okay. Well, that's it for me then. I don't know
NW
if
is
Ollie
Subagosu
Patrick
for
and
24
Deathfate, obviously,
months. Go
they've been
Bonyth.
covering this tournament
NW
on
powered.
their respective
ZZZero
channels,
less than 3.
and we haven't had them on this channel specifically, but on the English-speaking one. But if you guys want to chime in here and ask the players any questions that you would want, it's
you can ask me in Spanish.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
more than a question, it was a great tournament. We are looking for a great match today. It has been a great honor to have broadcast the games for all the Latin American StarCraft community. It allowed us to know the level of the foreign representatives compared to ours in games that will remain in our memories for a very long times. We are really very excited for this grand final. From all Latin America, Bolivia, Peru, Chile, Mexico, for all the crew of the BSL and StarCraft.
That's awesome. Thank you. Deathfate.
Okay, I just have one question. eOnzErG, as the last Spanish-speaking player in the tournament, I know you have a lot of Latin American fans that root for you. So do you feel confident today? Do you think you can beat Bonyth and Dewalt after they beat you in such a manner in the round of 8?
Can I answer that in Spanish since I probably said the same before in English? Zero. Okay. Pues ha sido un torneo bastante extraño para mí, porque yo me imagino que cuando la gente me ve jugando torneos, pues siempre piensan, bueno, pues él va a ser el que lo va a ganar o tiene que ganarlo porque es uno de los mejores uno de los mejores jugadores extranjeros. Pero la realidad es que el nivel ahora mismo no me está acompañando en los últimos meses, años. Ciertamente desde que volví de Corea el nivel no me está acompañando. Entonces, tengo que ser realista y todo lo que estoy haciendo hasta ahora ha sido fantástico. Creo que el resultado ha sido fantástico. Y nada, vamos a intentar dar una buena imagen en esta próxima etapa que puede ser la última también.
Okay, and Bonyth, maybe you want saludos from Peru or like the other day? No, it's a joke. Do you feel confident also because do you expect eOn to pass till today, or did you thought that maybe Oya was your opponent today and maybe you only practice maybe PvP or something like that? Do you think it was going to be your opponent today?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, like 60 to 40 odds in favor of eOnzErG. So yeah, that's expected pretty much.
Okay. And finally, just thank you to ZZZero, to Dawid, for letting me cast this tournament. It's been great. Thank you for all the players. The games are awesome, and the viewership are very, very happy to see it. So thank you, everyone.
Indeed, the games have been great. The round of 8 was fantastic. Yesterday was fantastic, and I think everybody's ready to just see the semifinals. So with that said, good luck to both of our players. We're going to go into the highlights, and then we're going to get right into the round or into the semifinals. So we'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
Expand because
course, Protoss has to... Oh, he's actually going to lose the bunker if he doesn't pull another SCV. He pulls the SCVs. He's going to lose the bunker. He has no tank behind this. I think he's going to have to lift his natural, and Bonyth might actually just walk up Koget's. It's going to be... I don't think eOnzErG has the production to match this. Again, remember, Protoss is on equal bases with the Zerg, so, I mean, unless eOnzErG has a weird Ninja Expo, it's really hard for me to conceive of him defending against this with just Slayer units, but it looks like he's doing it, so eOnzErG playing kind of out of...
They are on hold position. There he goes. There's no scan, and this is going to be the last move for Body. There's half of the army instantly gone. Now the Mutas instantly jump on top of him. The Lurkers have traded so well and then thinned out this Marine ball quite a bit. Maybe he can bust through. Oh, he's going to lose all of his Marines to these couple of Lurkers. The vessels were a little bit out. He waits, the more devastating. Now he goes in, but the 4 cannons are up. So this is it for eOnzErG. Zella's trying to be a hero in the front. You can see how fast these cannons are going down. Ling's getting on top of the bottom cannon. There's only 1 remaining. And if this cannon goes down, there's going to be no more detection for fun.
Great, because this Arbiter's going to get energy, and Koget's not going to get the EMP off. I think Stasis is going to go off, but no, actually the EMP lands before anything gets Stasis, so Maverick cannot take
this might be Koget just going for the throat. He's stimming in here. 4 Sunkens are strong. Good Muta control at the bottom. I think it's just way too much Koget. All of the Sunkens are falling. You can see how fast the Mutalisks also fall. And this is going to be Koget just busting through. Where are the Lings? Did they also get picked off?
That was really good for Ultra, killing 2 SCVs like that.
Yeah, it was not bad, but he's got to be careful to not lose these Marines. Almost manages to pick off that weakened Marine. Look at that moving shot with the SCV. That's not something you see every day, especially with an SCV. But that's 3 Marines that just get wiped out by 1 Marine and 2 SCVs. And now Ultra's in big time trouble.
Bo is making a scout. He has a shuttle out with the Reaver already. There's no turret, only Marines to defend against the shuttle, and I think he's going to be able to completely decimate this as he drops on top of the Terran army. The Reaver gets a nice shot onto the 2 tanks. It dies, but not before taking 2 tanks with it, and Bo's army is just going to clean this up.
They're trying to come in, but remember, there's still 3 Corsairs alive. We're not worried about 2 Mutas here, so I think that Bo White might actually bust him. That's a great storm. Hits so many Hydras, he has at least 2 more available. And that's gonna hit the Mutas too.
Oh.
It dealt so much damage, so now the Muta switch is completely nullified to go there. He sees the units coming in from the angle. Can the Maelstrom? Oh, he gets a good Maelstrom right there, right on top of him. And the Storm gets the Hydras in the back. And this is the trade that he was looking for. But is there enough Zealots?
That was absolutely, and I wonder, Krayok, he doesn't, I feel like Krayok is totally caught out of position. He's going to lose these tanks for free. I don't know how many units Krayok has at his main base. Speaking up on the low ground, I feel like Danny's just going to bust here, and he's going to get into Krayok's main base, and what's Krayok going to do? He has to basically really start getting super cost effective against the Protoss army, and again, he's only on 1-0 upgrade, so not quite hitting his power spike just yet, but you can see that Boa's economy is struggling. He's just not producing that many units, and he doesn't have anything to really contest this, despite being a really early push. And now Danny sieging up, Vulture's in front. Vulture's going to receive these Zealots. The Zealots get on top of the tanks, though. Dandy not quite focused. Okay, you see Dandy beautifully focus firing the Dragoons and unsieging right after that, so he doesn't get any more siege fire onto the Zealots, and Dandy played that perfectly there, completely wiped the floor with Boa's army, and he's just going to go down at the same time.
Only kills a couple. Oh, he gets.
Oh, that was a massive storm. It's not quite clear where does Koget go from here. The fight's going to happen. Oh no, okay, I think it's just a couple of straggling units. Dewalt going in here, trying to see if he has a bust timing onto this army. There's a lot of tanks, and actually I think Koget will have more than enough. The tanks have really good split here to not get stasis too much, but actually Dewalt with the extra Zealots pushes through, finds 6 stasis, even 1 stasis for 2 more mutas, but like, the push is coming. Avilov is in position. Storms go off though, and Dewalt, if he just lands a couple of good storms, it's going to be enough for him to push through here. He has so many Dragoons, so many Zealots, bunch of gates rallying behind this. Still, look, the drone count is pretty even, and Siki has 2 hatcheries going, and he has access to the second gas, so he doesn't have to expand just yet. He can play aggressively. This map really kind of still looks so much Zerg red units coming down. This is exactly what I was expecting to see. You really just want to keep flooding the Protoss at this point. You should be perpetually maxed, perpetually sending a bunch of links, and finally, okay, Siki finds the engagement he was looking for. All he on the third base, and he's actually just going to take this fight with a +2 Carapace timing, but Gornich has his as well, so we're just going to have a dogfight in the air. Mutalist versus Mutalist, just the blob, green blades going everywhere. Scourge coming in from Siki. No more Scourge, actually a couple from Gornich as well, and we'll have to see here. There's no clear advantage. I mean, it's just Mutalist flailing themselves. Yeah, it looks like
there's just way too much air for Ziki, and Gornich, who had all those wings, unfortunately, doesn't help him in an air battle. Now he's going to lose bottom right, get back as if he gets a catch onto that Reaver, but there's a second one already there. Oh no, no, they both go down. Well, no, one of them goes down, but the two Reavers on the high ground are now just going to lay. Hey man, look at those! That juicy shot onto those 5 goons. 3 of them die instantly, and this is going to be eOnzErG easily holding Boa's attack.
The burrow with your lurkers to hold positions, but it looks like still True Touch is going to push through here.
Yeah, 120 supply versus 90, but Hydras are just so good. There's no storm either, so that's a great storm in the back, and that's going to completely wipe these Hydras. And now it's 4 base versus 4. She's still in a bit of trouble. Oh my God! The nails from the Archon's just sitting there, just going to blast down all of the Mutas list, and this is 11 Mutas all time. Yes. It is time. It is time. We are now where are we coming from, Mihai? Are we coming from Namek down to Earth, or where are we coming from?
Yeah, from Namek, dude. I don't know. Namek blew up, man. We're actually from dude, you're putting me on the spot, man. I haven't even slept enough. I don't even know the Dragon Ball lore anymore, dude.
We're coming from King Kai's planet, where you got some training, I'm sure, over the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, because we're Krillin and Yamcha, right? We learned how to use instant transmission, so it makes sense. Because they don't, they didn't know in the show. Only the...
Okay. Maybe we learned it from Master Roshi. I have no idea. But we are going to be going into our semifinals now. Finally, it feels like it's been an eternity because the round of 8, wow, that was a lot of games. We had, I think, 28 games in the round of 8, just an insane amount of games played. Yeah. And we are finally here. We are finally into the semifinals. Yeah. This is the last day. And I don't think you could ask for a better semifinals because we've got eOnzErG, our last remaining Zerg, and then we've got Bonyth, our previous champion. So this should be a real treat.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a bittersweet feeling because, these broadcasts they're long, guys. I spend way too much time here with Nyoken and Zero, but at the same time, every single week I look forward to it, and then I look forward to watching some of these games with just talking out of my infinite knowledge of StarCraft. I don't know. I'm just feeling very conflicted, Nyoken, because obviously this has been a really long journey here for us. And we had so many hours, especially this season compared to last season, because, remember, I think most BSL seasons were with 24 players, and this time around we had 32 players. So an extra round plus this round robin elongated that even more. So, definitely a long journey, but we can rest assured that for sure this tournament has highlighted essentially the best players outside of Korea, just given the format, just given how extensive it was. So definitely probably the most competitive, in the highest integrity kind of format we could have had. And I know that's what Zero was definitely aiming for. So with that aside, obviously at this point, after hours upon hours upon hours of games and of stream and of whatever, of Gypsy rants, of Nyoken questionable takes, and and of instant transmission moments. I remember that one time your green screen was almost falling apart. Nyoken. That was good. But we're finally here, man. The finals, final day, eOnzErG versus Bonyth, and then the winner of this is going against Dewalt. And we had that pregame interview. eOnzErG was not feeling so confident, and Bonyth neither, to a certain extent, I would say, because again, another Gypsy take here, but when you're dodging those questions like that when you don't really want to talk about the games, you definitely are thinking about being very focused and about playing your best game. So definitely Bonyth is feeling the pressure here playing against eOnzErG, and who wouldn't?
Yeah, eOnzErG, after yesterday, he's definitely in full monster mode. The Polypoid game, there was no point in that game where eOnzErG had even a glimmer of hope. Benzene in Eclipse, yeah, I saw it. I saw eOnzErG throw away the lead on Eclipse, but Polypoid, there was no doubt in my mind that eOnzErG was just playing at basically, I think, the highest he's going to play. So if he can transfer that over into this series versus Bonyth, I can see him taking down Bonyth. And that's hard for me to say because when you have Bonyth in any match in BSL, he almost never loses. This one loss versus Dewalt, I think, was the only time I've seen Bonyth lose a match in BSL. It's crazy how dominant this guy is. So eOnzErG, he picked the right time to turn it on. I think he's got a good shot, but of course, going up against the King, it's going to be very hard for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that, right? David versus Goliath in a sense. I mean, eOnzErG, you know, that's the one thing. He constantly rates himself as significantly below Bonyth and Dewalt in these interviews here. And I don't necessarily, I mean, I understand where he's coming from, and results-wise, I get it. And also, eOnzErG, he is a humble player, right? Like, as hilarious as that sounds, given some of his interviews, he is funny, and he does like to, you know, when he's feeling good about it, he likes showing it. But at the same time, he knows what his results have been versus Bonyth and Dewalt, and he respects those players. So obviously, he's not going to come on here. Oh my God, that's you know, chat's going to have a field day with that one. But he's not going to get on to the broadcast and, you know, talk smack to these players that he has much respect for. But I definitely think he has a shot here today versus both of these players. So with that being said, game one is ready. Bubbles is going to be the map. Let's get right into it.
So in the bottom left, in the blue, it is Bonyth.
And in the bottom right, in the red, Zerg. That is eOnzErG.
So you've played in a few show matches recently. I think, what was it, versus Striker a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, and then versus Jaeyoon recently. And then apparently you're on Raz McDaz's team for that Rogues Gallery team match. So if you're going into a series, like an extended series, what's going through your mind? And already I'm liking it from Bonyth because I talked about this previously. We haven't seen a single one base play, and here he is pulling it out. But what are your thoughts for eOnzErG going into this match?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Dan. I feel like you're presenting me as this.
Well, you're the Zerg analyst, man. Like, you're the hybrid. You're the Zerg Terran hybrid, right? I mean, I used to be a Zerg player back in 1999, but you know, apparently chat didn't like my +1 melee ZVZ build, so I think I gotta default to you for the experts for the Zerg analysis. Unless we get the Abby Love group again, then maybe I can come into play in those ZVCs. But this is not that matchup.
Yeah, but Dan, I mean, you're the one, you've had a breadth of competitive experience yourself. I mean, we all know going into series plays, going into tournament play, you can't, I mean, you can't really do the same thing over and over and over and over unless your name's Nyokin, I guess. eOnzErG, as Bonyth clearly has something prepared here, you know, whipping out the 2-gate. We've been talking about the one base PVZ, the one base play from Bonyth this whole tournament, and he's waited until the last possible moment to whip it out. Now, eOnzErG, I mean, he's already an extremely kind of high variance player in his own right. He can whip out absolutely anything. So definitely, I think the series must have been a bit harder for Bonyth to prepare for. But eOnzErG, I mean, what could he do to spice things up? I really don't know, because he's already showed it all. I think probably the most surprising would be to just dial down his aggression and get really into macro games. And we saw again, like you said, Nyokin, against eOnzErG yesterday on Polypoid, it was absolutely amazing how he played that long game. But now he gets the probe, which is huge. I mean, that probe is important not just for scouting information, but specifically when you're doing this 2-gate opener with the pressure with the Zealots, right?
Yeah, so we have 3 Zealots already out. Now, eOnzErG luckily got a first scout off, so he knows that it's coming. Overlord's in the base, so he knows the gas timing too. And this is going to be a Ling counterattack, but these Zealots should be popping out any moment now. Instead, the Lings are going to turn around. He's just making sure that those 2 incoming Zealots don't just insta move command, freely. They do have to worry about the 6 Lings potentially attacking them. But these 3 Zealots are going to be a bit isolated. Now, this is not a scenario we see often. I think 3 Zealots is probably the magic number to face Lings on that particular bridge. We can see the engagement coming in, but this is a great surround from eOnzErG. He's cut off one of the Zealots at the bottom. 2 other Zealots are pretty low. Nice control to make sure that those 5 or 6 Lings do not engage the 4 Zealots. And so far, eOnzErG is holding this perfectly. I've also noticed that he has started speed and he is not continuing to mine gas. Now, that is a lot of Lings. And we know that, building Lings is great for fending off the Zealots. But if he builds too many, he's not going to have a great drone count. And I'm a bit worried about, as it goes into the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting from Bonyth. A lot of the times when you see 2-gate in PvZ, the gates are placed in the natural to basically create a sim city so that it allows you to expand behind it much more easily, which is one of the big problems in PvZ. How do you secure that early natural? But in this game, Bonyth is not even thinking about expanding. He got his gas, his core is almost done. He's going to follow this up with tech. And off of 2-gate, I'm expecting to see a Citadel here in a Templar Archives, and maybe we're going into some kind of really early Zealot Archon push, which might be really strong. Now, Bonyth moving out here, baiting the counterattack from eOnzErG, but of course Bonyth, I mean, he's not going to make a mistake like not leaving a couple of Zealots on his ramp, but this is only 2 Zealots, and this is a lot of Lings. Bonyth is forced to retreat here. He does not want to go for some kind of crazy base trade scenario. He even pulled all his probes, actually, so he's going to lose a lot of his econ, and Bonyth is being, I don't know if the Zealots kind of are moving back and forth there, because they're taking a really long time to get back into the base, but maybe being a bit undecisive here, and eOnzErG is killing so many probes as a result of this move from Bonyth, and really, I mean, this is so bad for Protoss.
Yeah, this is almost game-ending damage. Also, he scouts that it's Stargate. This is not going to be, Citadel. It's not the common robo follow-up. So there's really no danger of eOnzErG dying here, unless he dies to the 8 Zealot counterattack. But I already saw that he has 2 Sunkens already in production or already morphed. He's got Hydra Den. The one thing that he doesn't have is not a lot of hatches. It's still 2 hatch, and he doesn't have that many drones. Now, killing those probes obviously evened up the score, well, more than evened up the score in his favor. But here come those Zealots. Again, 2 Zealots holding the ramp, but this might be a repeat of what we just saw. The Lings had decent surface area on those Zealots too. 2 Lings are attacking the bottom one. Again, it forces Bonyth to turn around. Remember, this is not a game where he has a forge, where he has like a cannon behind this or in his main. So when the Lings get in, they're going to have free reign over that probe line.
Yeah, Bonyth looking really shaky this game, man. Like, this constant turnaround. I mean, it is hard for Protoss to navigate this space because sometimes you do want to come back here. These Ling counterattacks are a huge investment by Zerg. It's definitely a lot of their eco to make that many Lings, and it's a huge amount of their army to commit here. But constantly going back and forth here, Bonyth is allowing Zerg to essentially get way more production rounds in, which means more drones, more Lings, and Protoss is on a timer here because the one Nexus doesn't scale that well, especially not after losing that many probes, right? eOnzErG still, though, is only on 2 hatcheries, and now
he is supply blocked, and these constant link counterattacks, I mean, this is a lot of Zerglings to be making off of just 2 hatcheries. He doesn't really have that many larvae to work with, so you can see actually his economy is totally shot, despite the fact that he completely wrecked Bonyth's economy, and it's going to take a while for eOnzErG to drone up and then to add more hatcheries. So I feel like eOnzErG feels like he's all in, and it looks like it. I mean, he's attacking up this ramp with Hydra Zergling. The Zerglings get in, so they're going to kill even more probes while these Hydralisks are keeping the main Protoss army at the ramp. So really nice tactics here from eOnzErG, but at the same time, I mean, this needs to continuously do damage because eOnzErG has committed a tremendous amount of larvae into this attack. His economy isn't where he wants it to be. I mean, third hatch is nowhere in sight for eOnzErG, and he also got the Hydra Den off of the 2 hatcheries, right? So he had to get the gas, he had to get the Hydra Den. That's 2 drones right there. Mining gas to produce Hydralisks, that's like another 3 drones, not mining minerals. So really, eOnzErG, his infrastructure is not quite where it should be.
Yeah, the Ling counterattack getting a couple more probes. I do remember the Sayer killing one of the Overlords, and that did stall the incoming attack from eOnzErG quite a bit. But even though eOnzErG has done all that damage, I am getting nervous because with that cybernetic spinning, I think that's for range. I don't think it's necessarily for +1 weapon in the air. And if he can hit critical mass goons versus a player that only has 2 hatches,
yeah,
you know, it doesn't seem like eOnzErG is going to likely be able to hold that. He does still have a lot of Zealots left over too, because the Lings have been running in and just avoiding them. They're not actually killing them. Now, eOnzErG doing some nice harassment with these Hydras. Range has not kicked in just yet. Sarah is moving out to see what's going on. I don't think there's a lair either, right? Like, this is really committed from him. It's literally just 2 hatch play.
Yeah, but the thing is, these are fully upgraded Hydralisks. They have speed, they have range. These Zealots are totally worthless without speed. Like, absolutely worthless against Hydralisks. He does have a Citadel, but already he lost most of his Zealots before the speed could kick in. And at this point, honestly, Nyokin, eOnzErG is just in a fantastic position. It just doesn't seem like Bonyth's build did, set itself up to do anything, and really he's gonna have only just this one attack here with kind of Dragoon Zealot, as you said, getting up to Dragoon Mass, but I just don't think he's ever gonna get to that point. I mean, eOnzErG has so many Hydras here, and really Hydras are incredibly overpowered in this matchup. I mean, straight up, if you don't have AoE as Protoss, if you don't have that higher tech to deal with it, gateway units get absolutely obliterated, absolutely demolished by Hydralisks. And Dumo, or Doom-O, or Dumo, thanks for the thanks for the tip, the big $50. Again, thanks so much, guys, for the huge support. We'll probably not mention it too much today because these games are going to be absolutely crazy, but the support has been absolutely insane for BSL 10, and look forward to BSL 11. But yeah, I mean, at this point, Nyokin, honestly, Bonyth is going to need a miracle to make this happen, and that miracle might be the 3rd gate.
Yeah, I think the time has come and gone for Bonyth. Losing those Zealots, as you mentioned, the Hydra is doing real work with all of their upgrades. Now 4 hatches are going to be up and running for eOnzErG. DTs are coming out. That's going to at least push the Hydras back. eOnzErG sees the blur, so he's not going to lose that many drones, but because the lair has not even started, speed on the Overlords not going to be out anytime soon. Luckily, because this is a 1 base play, Bonyth cannot afford 5 Sayers in combination with the Goons and also the DT, so no real threat of those Overlords going to the 3rd base and getting intercepted. So overall, DTs are not going to be the best investment from Bonyth, but at least this does get him his natural.
Yeah.
So that's good news for him, but he's still down 5 supply already.
Well, I really like this from Bonyth. This is exactly what the DTs are buying him, and the 3 drone kills, I mean, every drone kill here is so important because eOnzErG, I mean, yeah, he's going to commit a couple of Hydras, but this DT already paid for itself. The DTs in general have just paid for themselves by keeping eOnzErG on his side of the map and allowing Bonyth to take this expansion without any defense against Hydras. I mean, literally, he had no Storm, he had no cannons. This Nexus would be impossible without the help of these DTs. So the fact that Bonyth is slowing this game down and allowing himself to take an expansion is really good, because now eOnzErG, he has a bunch of units. He's going to feel pressured to stop this expansion, right? And if not, I mean, if he continuously makes units here and doesn't stop this expansion, which I think he has an overwhelming army here, because it's only one DT defending against these Hydras, it's going to put in the work, and the Zealots do have speed, the Dragoons do have range. Is there Storm? Oh my god, Storm actually finished, and that was a huge connection there. And Bonyth is slowly but surely doing it, man. I mean, eOnzErG, he's committed a lot of his econ into making this many Hydras, and if he allows Protoss to just take an expansion here and saturate it without punishing the Protoss, it's going to be hard for him to drone back up. I mean, he does have 4 hatcheries now. You know, the Hydras are doing a lot of work, though. The DTs are going to clean this up. There's no way this expansion goes down, but the fact that eOnzErG trades off a lot of the units is huge, and eOnzErG does have 4 hatcheries behind this, so I think eOnzErG has done a good job to keep his economy booming here while Protoss takes this expansion.
Yeah, even though he lost a lot of Hydras there, he traded for all expensive units. He got, what, 3 Goons? He got a Templar. He forced a Morph on an Archon, which is not really what you want versus the Hydras. He didn't take down any of the DTs, but he still does have his 4 hatches up and running, so he's got tons of production, and he's going to go for it again. This time an Overlord is in position. Zealots do get on top of some of the Hydras. Archon doing a bit of damage in the back, getting a couple haymakers onto the Hydras, but there's just not enough. Cannon is up, but that's not going to save him, I don't think. Archon is going to get focused down. Is there enough eOnzErG to actually bust this? I think there is more Hydras coming in.
Yeah, it's just going to be a huge pour-in of Hydralisks, and without Storm, you can't hold this. You can't hold this without cannons. You can't hold this without Templar, and I think eOnzErG has just done it here. The cannons were not in time. The Templars were just not there for Bonyth. You know, it is hard to get Templars out on time. This DT is going to come in here, but Bonyth GG's, and shocking result here for game 1. eOnzErG takes it almost convincingly, really. Bonyth didn't really seem to do anything with that 2-gate. Again, eOnzErG plays so incredibly aggressive early on. In the early game in general, a lot of Zergs in that situation, they get faced with kind of a 2-gate, and they don't see the 2-gate at the natural. They don't see the Nexus coming in at all. They usually play defensively there and try and drone up, maybe get up to like 4 hatcheries or something like that. But eOnzErG, he got speed, he got a bunch of lings early on, and just pressure the Protoss, which I think is the right approach to something like a 2-gate, because you know, Bonyth can't just ignore the Zerglings, right? The Zerglings are going to soft contain the Protoss, going to allow the Zerg to get a lot of drones back at home, and somehow eOnzErG just got up that ramp and killed a bajillion amount of probes.
Yeah, and Gruglog, thank you for the big donation, $25. Thank you so much. All of the donations are going to be going towards Zero. If you want it to go towards the BSL 11 pool, make sure you write in your donation message that you would like it to go to that. And I agree with you, like eOnzErG handled it perfectly. And I'm trying to think like what went wrong for Bonyth. And really the only thing that I can come up, well, obviously it's the Lings getting in. So what could he have done better there? The thing that's coming to me is 2 Zealots on the ramp. You know, it can hold a lot, but if you combo it with even just 1 probe behind, all of a sudden you're 2-shotting Lings. And I think that forces eOnzErG to make a decision. He has to either commit and really try and get in and lose a ton of Lings, or he has to go engage that army. And that army had like 8 Zealots. And if he loses even like 4 or 5 Lings trying to get up the ramp before he backs off, that could have been the difference maker for Bonyth to just overwhelm the Lings in the center of the map. So I think even though Bonyth fell here, I don't think he should really feel like, oh, well, my 2-gate is just going to get shut down versus eOnzErG. I think with minor adjustments, this could be a winning move in future games.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because, like you said, I mean, he could have had a probe there, but even just leaving a couple more Zealots back at base, you know, you don't always need to commit the entirety of your Zealots to the attack. I mean, yeah, it makes it stronger, obviously, but just Zerg will have that kind of implicit defense in terms of just the run-by potential there to keep a couple of your Zealots back at base. But anyway, Polypoid is going to be the second map in this series. Let's see if Bonyth can even it out or eOnzErG extends his lead.
In the top right, our current BSL 10 champion, it is Bonyth. Or BSL 9 champion.
And in the bottom right, the dark horse really of the tournament, right? It is eOnzErG. The dark horse in the sense of, I mean, eOnzErG has had success, a tremendous amount of success in previous BSL tournaments, but I think he's risen as the kind of the, not really a Cinderella story, but like the underdog story, right? I think
Yeah, because in the round of 8, like, I think he started, what, 0-2? I think he did, but he also faced, you know, 2 of the best opponents that you're going to face in the round of 8. But he turned around and finishes 5-2, so he's really streaking pretty hard.
Yeah, basically he won versus everyone that wasn't Bonyth and Dewalt, actually, if we think about it. So, yeah, I mean, eOnzErG, you know, to be honest, he's kind of just been a silent killer this whole tournament, right? He got out of his groups. Then, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he did play the 2 strongest players in the round of 8, but after that, he just completely ran a train against the rest of the players. So, you know, maybe it's just Caster Gypsy here being a bit biased and unfair towards the legend here, eOnzErG. But honestly, eOnzErG has just been playing phenomenally. And again, every time he sounds not confident against Bonyth and Dewalt, which is something that, you know, I was talking about earlier, it does take me by surprise. I do get where he's coming from because, again, you know, he just hasn't won against these players, so he doesn't want to say, oh yeah, I'm confident. But the reality is, he definitely is on that tier of play when he plays well, without a doubt in my mind. So that's why, to me, it's kind of weird when he doesn't seem to believe in himself. But at the same time, I get that he doesn't want to just say, oh yeah, I'm definitely on the same level as these guys, because maybe he just doesn't feel that he's had the results to warrant saying that. Now, this game looks like overpool, but here Bonyth isn't going for a gate first.
Yeah, it is going to be the 12 Nexus with a Forge before the Nexus. So he's going to get a pretty great opener. eOnzErG did go for overpool. Now, last game I was talking about, like, what's the game theory for, like, what's some of the mind games that eOnzErG could possibly play versus Bonyth. I was a bit surprised that Bonyth opened with the 2 gate on 1 base.
Yeah.
But I guess he kind of wants to just start it off like, hey, you're going to play my game from the get-go. I was thinking, you know, more along the lines is, how is eOnzErG going to mind game? Because he's shown lurker play versus Bonyth. He's shown he can macro. So just thinking about what eOnzErG can do, I would like to see him macro, because if you open with the lurkers, I don't think Bonyth is going to expect to see it twice. I think he's just going to know, like, every single game it's going to be macro from there. So I would really like to see macro from eOnzErG this game, then potentially follow-up game with some lurker play. And I think obviously it's going to be likely macro, since you got Polypoid, probably the best macro map.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this Forge opener from Bonyth? Because, you know, we haven't seen 973 that much, but this is a map where you're going to get 3 bases, all very close. You're going to get your econ going really fast. And I think this could be just a, you know, a death sentence, really, if eOnzErG goes straight for 973. But as I say that, there's the lair.
Well, you know, here's the thing, Dan. Like, I really do think eOnzErG has set himself up beautifully in this series, just from how he's played the tournament so far. I don't even think eOnzErG has to do too much thinking here in terms of... Don't laugh at that, dude. What I'm trying to say is, eOnzErG has shown that he can do anything.
Yeah.
No, that's how he plays. He plays all sorts of builds. He plays... I mean, the thing is, everyone knows he has more aggressive tendencies, but he doesn't have to come in here and whip out something that no one's ever seen. And it looks like it's going to be Lair and the Hydra Den, so it looks like really early lurkers, like you keep talking about, Nayook, and really expecting that lurker play. But I think eOnzErG, he can, you know, coming into this, you know, for example, right, if I'm a Terran player and I play every single game, I play the same macro play, and then I go into a tournament and everyone knows I'm going to play macro. The onus is kind of on me to change that, right? But eOnzErG, people know, like people expect him to be able to play all kinds of builds and all kinds of plays. So really, if eOnzErG comes into this series and just tosses all of that out the window and plays nonstop, let's say like macro and passive style, that would be surprising in itself. So literally, he can do whatever he wants. Now, again, going back to the biggest way he could probably mix up his game is exactly what you said. The Zerglings are actually going to get in here, and they're going to get on top of the cannon. They're going to kill the cannon for free, and this is disaster here for Bonyth, because all of a sudden, more Zerglings could run in here. He only has one Zealot. This does happen when you kind of forsake Zealot production in favor of faster tech. The Stargate and Citadel are already up, but he's going to take so much damage from these Zerglings, and oh my god, this is such a bad spot to be in as Bonyth.
Well, I've been closely paying attention to eOnzErG's gas because he got Lair, he got Hydra Din. I was thinking, like, is this tie 2? Are we possibly going to see the Hydra drop? Are we going to see the fake Hydra drop into the main and then go for a bust? But there is no gas at the natural. So I think the odds of it being a Hydra bust or some type of lurker play, well, Lings are getting on top of the cannon again. And Bonyth has got to be a bit worried because, remember, eOnzErG showed lurkers yesterday. He showed it versus Bonyth on Eclipse. So he's going to probably be scrambling to get multiple cannons down. And we don't even know if lurkers are actually coming. As you pointed out, eOnzErG doesn't have to go lurkers. He can just play passive. It looks like that's what he's doing because, well, maybe not passive, but it looks like he is not going in hard into the lurkers because he has his 4th hatch going up. But he has built a lot of Hydras, so this might be, a follow-up that does try to bust the net.
I mean, he can do a lot of things. These Corsairs are going to be really annoying, though, and if eOnzErG just pounces at the opportunity that he's created for himself and forsakes kind of the defense of his infrastructure, it might come back to bite him. You can't just move Hydras across the map when 2 Corsairs are cleaning up all of your Overlords, and they're going to get a lot of kills, and that is going to be annoying, and Bonyth has had enough time to rebuild these cannons. It's always an extremely uncomfortable situation to be in as Protoss when you get a run by like that does kill a couple of cannons, that really weakens kind of your front. This is really the hardest part of PvZ, is surviving the early game, surviving the NAC bust timings, and really securing your second base. He's under fire here. He does have a lot of cannons to defend this, but he is on a clock. He needs to get Templar out to really make sure that he doesn't die to Hydras, because these Hydras can pounce on top of the cannons. The Zealots do not have speed just yet, or at least he doesn't have a lot of gateways back at his base, because remember, he's making and actually eOnzErG does jump in here. He kills a couple of cannons, more cannons coming in here. I wonder if Bonyth has an extra forge in his main, because it looks like the one forge is still being built, and he doesn't have another forge now. And I think eOnzErG might have a chance here to just end the game.
Yeah, he might be able to end the game, but the Sairs were doing work keeping the Overlords at bay. I don't know if he was blocked at any point, but more Hydras are being pumped out. As you mentioned, and then the Forge got killed again, so he still can't build cannons. It would have finished by now, and he could have scrambled to get up some more. Bonyth might just lose right here. He's supply blocked too, so there's no Zealots coming. There's no DTs coming unless it got queued up just a minute or just a few seconds ago. Speed is now on the Overlord, so if even a DT comes, it's going to be, there it is. It will be killed by these Hydras. I think eOnzErG is about to take game 2.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Bonyth doesn't even have his gateways are coming online, but he's gonna lose a lot of probes. The only way, and Bonyth is supply blocked, man. He can't even make out of those gateways. This game's totally over. There's only one cannon. He GG's. Oh my god. Dude.
Nicely done from eOnzErG. So he just held an aggressive build from Bonyth.
Yeah.
And then he held a passive build from Bonyth. And he's just brought it to Bonyth. And you would think, like, more than likely the 2-gate game would be the bread and butter build for Bonyth, right? Because he's the one that can play it on ladder and get tons of practice versus it. The chances of eOnzErG playing versus it, 0%. So for him to hold that and now to win here, he's up 2-0. Oh man, Bonyth is in real trouble.
Yeah, that 2-gate, again, that first game was such a tone setter for this the rest of the series, because also when you whip out that 2-gate and it gets convincingly smacked down like that, then eOnzErG can honestly just omit that from the rest of the series, and Bonyth I don't think will have the confidence to play it again. So that's how builds like that can backfire for you, as we're distorting reality here with the Clash of the Titans. But this game here too, like now Bonyth, because ZvP, right? Zerg usually sets the tone of the game early on. It's really the Zerg has a priority in terms of build selection, in terms of setting the pace of the game, and Protoss is playing kind of a more reactionary game, trying to survive that early game. And the 2-gate is meant to reverse that role. And then when that kind of fails in its tracks, like it did for Bonyth in game 1, and then in game 2 he's forced to play the standard kind of reactionary Protoss in terms of trying to navigate that early game to set themselves up on that two-base situation, and gets completely smacked like that. It's just so hard to be in Bonyth's shoes right now. Refining that confidence to kind of deal with the Zerg early game, especially the thing is, especially versus a player like eOnzErG, where he's so aggressive early on. If Bonyth was playing like someone like Siki, he would have all the space in the world to get up to 2 bases to just play his game and find footing like that. But this is what makes eOnzErG such a scary opponent.
Yeah, Bonyth is in big time trouble. And, I always like to talk about mindset going into series and try and guessing what the opponent will do in the next game. Because if you can read the opponent and it's correct, I mean, they're doomed, right? So let's think about this. He's shown 1 base, or he's shown 1 base. And, I kind of made the correlation to eOnzErG. If he shows lurkers, it's not going to happen twice, right? Same situation. 2 bases, 1 base, I think it's highly unlikely we see it. Now he went forward, right?
Yeah.
And we know Bonyth's bread and butter is either the 1 base play or the pressure with the gate expand.
Yeah.
So this 3rd game, we've already eliminated probably every single build that Bonyth's going to pull out. I would bet money here that this has got to be gateway expand. 100%. I would all in on this. So if I'm eOnzErG, I'm just going for the biggest hard counter to gateway expand, whatever it is, whether it's 5 pool, 9 pot. I'm not a Zerg player, so I'm not sure exactly
the
what
big
it
9
is, but
hatch,
I'm hard
actually
countering it.
Yeah. I mean, if we see a random 9 hatch here from eOnzErG, that would be like big galaxy brain meme lord status. I mean, this guy, his brain would just expand, take over the broadcast, take over the earth, and like. Because really, I kind of agree with you, Dan. Honestly, if we see something like a 9 hatch here, I can't imagine Bonyth doing anything other than a 1-gate. And so really, if eOnzErG can read that and pull out a sick hard counter to that, it would be hilarious. I mean, I would lose my marbles. But Benzene is going to be map 3 here for both players. We'll have to see if Bonyth can bounce back here or if eOnzErG can continue his streak.
So in the top right, he is down 2-0 in the blue. It is Bonyth.
And in the bottom left, BSL's child star. I don't know. Prodigy's the star. It is eOnzErG. Bonyth is like the king. Then we have a couple of princes here and there. True Touch was the prince for a sec. I feel like eOnzErG is the star. He's like the poster child. That's what I was looking for. The poster child of BSL. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking how we think that this is going to be a gateway expand. Now, of course, maps make a difference here. And now that it is Benzene, I'm thinking that maybe it doesn't have to be gateway expand.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
of the rush distances. But if this was something like Eclipse or pretty much any other map, I think 100% of the time this would have been a gateway expand. Now,
dude,
the probe did not transfer, so
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If there was one thing I would have wanted to see from Bonyth, which at this point I highly doubt we'll ever see, was the 1 base Reaver. And on this map, I feel like this map would have been perfect for it. But Benzene is definitely not a gate first map. This map, I think what eOnzErG did yesterday against eOnzErG was beautiful. I think that's the kind of build you want to do on this map. eOnzErG is actually going for the 11 hatch here, and so Bonyth is going to be able to get a Nexus first off. So this is already looking pretty good here for Bonyth. But it does, you know, it does let you wonder here. Why did Bonyth choose to go for a Forge expand on Polypoid? And then here he plays Benzene, which is another Forge expand map. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know exactly how. I don't know. You know, if they know the maps already. Do they know the order of the maps for the series right now, or is it just? Oh, so they do know. Yeah. So very interesting from Bonyth to kind of play the builds out as he is doing right now. But this is a gate after Nexus 2, so this is going to be a really fast tech from Bonyth.
Yeah, so we saw this yesterday. Remember, we had eOnzErG go gate or go fast Nexus, gate, gas, all before the Forge. I think cybernetics even went down before cannon. So this looks like a repeat of yesterday, and eOnzErG navigated it perfectly. He ended up going for the lurkers. Now, we were talking about big brain moves. It could be a big brain move again if he goes for lurkers again, because it's, you know, kind of saying to this guy, like, yeah, I know you saw it yesterday. I don't care. I'm going to do it again. So we may see it again. I think it's highly unlikely, but so far, everything is identical. 3 hatches, gas being mined, mineral-only base being taken, and Bonyth is mimicking pretty much the exact same thing eOnzErG did.
Well, actually, Bonyth doesn't have his gas, and he just spent a lot of his minerals on, I think, making a zealot and a cannon. Whereas at this point, Oya was getting gas, and he was getting his core. And I feel like this is a missed opportunity here from Bonyth, because this gateway, honestly, is a bit too late to be putting on zealot pressure. I mean, I know obviously it's going to be hitting, and especially because eOnzErG is going for a lair here, it's hitting at a very weird timing where the Zerg is mostly droning, and there's not going to be link speed or a bunch of links. So, you know, the zealot is going to be okay. It's going to do damage. But at the same time, you know, eOnzErG is almost on that 3 hatchery production. He's going to have a couple of links here. So, to be honest, with this opening from Bonyth, I think straight tech is just better. But, you know, this is Bonyth style. He does want to put on pressure here. And the zealot allows him to scout even more. He should know exactly what eOnzErG is doing, and eOnzErG is approaching this game much more passively than the others. He's going straight lair, no early hydrogen, and again, the zealot is hitting at a weird time. You can see the drones now just popping. There's no zerglings out. I don't think eOnzErG was expecting this. Okay, never mind. There's a bunch of links coming from the main.
Yeah, I also thought that eOnzErG wasn't expecting it, but the lings coming in through the bottom are going to save the day. He's going to end up wiping everything, I think. Oh, probe sniper in the back getting the last hit on that drone, but another zealot has joined the fray, but it's 6 lings versus 2 zealots. The top zealot is heavily damaged, so he's going to have to work his magic if he wants to get any more kills. I think that is a Stargate going down. Oh, nice catch with the lings. I don't think he ended up sniping anything there. Fast Citadel follow-up, so this is most likely going to be DT. Now, back in the main of eOnzErG, I don't think we got to see the tech, but I imagine Spire should have been started or is about to start pretty soon.
No, that's the thing. He actually hasn't. Okay, it is there. Okay. I was going to say, this Spire is looking more and more late by the second, but he did put it at his third. So Bonyth did not get to see that. Now, that Spire placement might come back to haunt him later on, because the Spire is quite a fragile building, and it is going to be exposed at that third base. You'll see a lot of zealot pressure heading towards that direction in the mid game. So we'll have to see if that was a bit kind of careless from eOnzErG. But for now, he does hide the tech. I mean, Bonyth should be expecting the Spire. You know, this is such a telegraphed Spire build here from eOnzErG, and you know, he will get the Corsair out. And it doesn't look like eOnzErG was setting himself up to make. Actually, he is, because he does have double gas here. So I'm thinking there's a lot of mutas and Scourge in these eggs.
Yeah, I also think that's the case. Zealot, or no, Sair is going to find an Overlord. May end up blocking eOnzErG. Yeah, it's going to fall, but he is continuing to build Sairs. I have noticed that. And eOnzErG, this could be really smart if he ends up trying to hide the mutas, not show them immediately. That's what he's doing so far. He's putting them at the third base. You can see that he's going a weird path trying to show that, hey, oh, he even has a Hydra Den to debate Bonyth into thinking that this is Hydra play and not the case. And in response, there's no cannon in the main. Scourge pop out, but that's not going to trigger anything because every Protoss player expects Scourge to be built. So this is going to completely blindside Bonyth.
Yeah, this is incredible, actually, from eOnzErG. I think he's going to get so many probe kills. The thing is, Bonyth does have a decent amount of zealots. He already has 4 gate. He has speed coming for sure. So Bonyth definitely has a counterattack opportunity here. He needs to move the zealots out onto the map. 1 Corsair goes down, but 2 Sairs are a decent amount here. And actually, eOnzErG is going to be put in a really weird position. These Corsairs are going to die, though. And the lanes counterattacking are probably going to keep a couple of the zealots back into the base. But eOnzErG is going to have to deal with a massive counterattack here. But this is so much damage coming onto Bonyth. He really needs to find some sick damage of his own with the zealots out on the map. But it just doesn't... I don't know what's happening at eOnzErG's third base.
He took down the cannon at the Nat too, so those probes are going to be compromised. Also, behind this, he has a couple mutas dealing with the zealots. The Lings are going to take down one of the pylons. Doesn't depower the Stargate, but one of those Sairs is extremely low. If he can take that one down, it would be, down to only 2 Sairs. For now, the zealots really haven't done, I don't think, that much damage. Maybe getting 3 or so drones. Mutas, yeah, they need to start backing off now, but Sunken is going to deal with that zealot, and now eOnzErG has 5 hatches up and running. There was no Templar Archive, by the way. It was straight speed, so DT's not coming anytime soon. Storm not coming anytime soon. Bonyth is in real trouble, in the next couple minutes when an incoming Hydra attack comes, and he's pumping out goons.
Yeah, this is looking like a disaster for Bonyth. I mean, eOnzErG beautifully, he actually took almost no damage from that counterattack. He did so much damage to Bonyth's eco, but at the same time, I mean, Bonyth does have a decent amount of Corsairs. He is transitioning to Dragoons. The only problem here is that there is no Templar Archives in sight, and eOnzErG already has, I mean, he's on 4 hatchery. He had his Hydra Den for a long time. I think if he gets fully upgraded Hydras, with speed and range, all he has to do is start making a bunch of Hydras, and he's going to be able to stop this attack. So really, the fact that Bonyth doesn't have a Templar Archives is huge here. The Corsairs are going to engage on top of the Mutalisks, but they're all clumped up, and the Corsairs do take a lot of damage from the bounces, but that is a lot of Corsairs, and they're also very sturdy, completely demolishing all those Mutalisks. So really kind of unfortunate there from eOnzErG, and Bonyth kind of clawing himself back into a decent position. Again, the problem is, though, this Templar Archives is ridiculously late, and, Dragoons, they're pretty strong, but, I mean, Hydralisks are, again, insane in this matchup.
Yeah, but that was a big win for Bonyth there. That was a full control group of mutas, and I guess the Sairs had +1 weapon because they just melted those Mutalisks. As they were falling, I was checking the Muta armor. I was like, wow, these things are dying pretty quick. No armor for the Mutalisk.
Yeah.
So we don't know if he was upgrading it, but if he was, a big anti-timing there. First couple of Templars have started coming out, and now with 5 Sairs still in the air, these Overlords, they got to be careful. Supply block is a real threat now. A ton of Hydras being pumped out, down about 20 supply. But remember, he just lost 12 Mutalisks. So, no surprise there that he's going to be down quite a bit. Cannon spam coming out. I think Bonyth is okay, though, because he's got 3 Templars up and running, and he's even building a Robo. So, yesterday we saw eOnzErG fall to Lurker follow-up. That's not going to be the case this time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see here. This attack from eOnzErG is huge. Storm is already done, actually, so that is a massive amount of damage on top of the Hydras, and eOnzErG, really, he does not have a bust timing here, and not only that, but eOnzErG's still on 4 hatcheries, so he hasn't gotten his infrastructure up at all, and meanwhile, Bonyth has, restored his probe count for more or less. He's getting up to a bunch of gates. He even got the early Robo here, anticipating Lurkers, probably thinking about that game that eOnzErG played yesterday versus eOnzErG. And now eOnzErG is getting his 5th hatchery, but at this point, given where Protoss is, you would want Zerg to be on 6 hatcheries without a doubt, or at least the 6th hatchery in production. So these Hydralisks are going to be annoying, and the fact that they ate those storms makes them weak, but there's not that many storms to work with on the Protoss side. So, it really, this matchup hinges so much on storms. As soon as there's no storm available for the Protoss, the Zerg can continuously pressure here, but you know, definitely Bonyth is not going to die here, and he's building up. Look, he's already at a 1-1. He's got a bunch of gates on the way. All he needs to do is wait for a couple more Templar, then build up his army, and he can go and have a nice attack timing here. And because he has air control, he can also opt to go for shuttle drops.
Well, big denial onto the Forge, but as you pointed out, 1-1's already done, but he is going to have to rebuild that. Back in his main, 4th base is going to be going up for eOnzErG. Another macro hatch at the 3rd base. As he pointed out, shuttle already done. This could be a DT drop to top left. It could also be a Templar drop. And that's a lot of drones because eOnzErG's crushing it in terms of the macro right now. And he has no idea that this is coming. And I think that's going to be an entire drone line just instantly melted.
Yeah, this is such a huge play here
Goodbye.
from Bonyth. Oh my god, dude. That's like 20
That's
drones at least.
Yeah, that's like 12 drones right there. And because the Sares are still in the air, there's no real chance of this shuttle dying. Well, okay, well now it's kind of cornered, but I thought he was going to go the other direction and save it and kind of have the Sares babysit it on the way out, but not the case. Now that is 9 gate for Bonyth because he should have a gate still at the front. Templar does get taken down, and if there were even just 2 Templars or maybe 3, you know, that is an expensive investment. Supply is still in favor of Bonyth though. He is, wow, big macro cycle there. You can see the power of the 8 gates that he has just booming up the 40 supply lead. But Lurker Contain is going to start coming into play, and that's going to be really hard for Bonyth to bust out now that he lost multiple Templars.
Yeah, but the thing is, eOnzErG does not have time to set up outside of Bonyth's base, and eOnzErG can choose to control one of these 2 high grounds, but I don't think that eOnzErG has the production to control both simultaneously. So if Bonyth just moves around and finds an angle here, he's going to be able to just get out onto the map. And, you know, given the fact that he did do so much damage to the Zerg economy, he's going to have a sick timing attack here. eOnzErG, though, he is going to try and get in here. He knows how, you know, eOnzErG does feel the pressure because he knows his production isn't where it should be. So he wants to get into a more aggressive position to try and really contain the Zerg or the Protoss to like a very specific location. But the fact that Bonyth already has access to this 3rd area on the map where he can kind of move around and get onto the other high ground, it's going to be so hard for eOnzErG to properly reinforce both locations. So it's just looking dicey for eOnzErG, but at the same time, Bonyth surprisingly is just taking this 3rd base instead of trying to do an attack. You know, Benzene is a very open map. It's a very big map. So playing slower is much more rewarded here because if he does move out onto the map, he has to deal with a lot of counterattacking opportunities from the Zerg player. But I do like this choice from Bonyth, and also given the fact that he's been on 2 base for such a long time, he's almost mined out both of his bases. But the problem is that eOnzErG is getting more time here to just drone back up. You know, that shuttle drop all of a sudden is a bit inconsequential, and eOnzErG has a 4th base. He has a couple of hatcheries building at top left as well. So to be completely honest, eOnzErG is getting back into this game where it looked like Bonyth would have had a sick timing against him.
Oh, a big shot from those 2 lurkers. They're just going to suicide for the rest of the probes. I don't think they're going to get any connections there. I am getting a bit worried for eOnzErG because I'm having flashbacks to some of the Ziki games where Ziki's crushing it, right? But then I see hatchery started to be placed left and right, just like what we just see right there. Top middle is being taken. Another macro hatch was placed at top left. Of course, there was a big drone cycle. That's great, but it's got to kick in. And we know that Bonyth is about to hit max. He's at 160. Protoss is not going to sit at max. They're going to go for a killing move. And to have 600 resources go into these hatcheries, I'm feeling like there's just potentially not going to be enough eOnzErG to hold this incoming almost maxed army. Now, lurkers on the high ground are also going to fall. So that's going to, you know, not be in this defensive posture that's setting up in the back. I think that's going to fall too. There's no storm, so maybe for now he's going to be pushed back, but look at the supply. There's a 50 supply lead for Bonyth.
Yeah, you have to be really careful here as Protoss can't just A-move into lurkers. He's going to wait for the Templars. nice storms here. eOnzErG does get a bunch of these Templar though, which is a huge pick off, and not just that, but also baits another storm. But that was definitely obviously an extremely good trade for Bonyth, and now this army is so menacing. But again, look, it's Benzene. eOnzErG is already on the counterattack at the 6 o'clock here. He's not going to spot that sneaky base though. I do like where Bonyth took this base. It's actually almost more defensible than the bottom right base at this point. So really good decision from Bonyth to expand there. But now the probes are going to get completely annihilated here by eOnzErG. So unfortunate transfer timing there. But eOnzErG, man, he's struggling because this is still a lot of supply to be investing into harassment, given the fact that back at home he doesn't have that many units.
eOnzErG is in deep trouble. He doesn't deny this bottom base. I've kept looking at that little red blob behind his third mineral. That's like 10 Hydras just chilling there.
Yeah.
That he's forgotten about. Top middle got denied. I think he got very lucky that Bonyth ended up not attacking top left. Of course, we have full vision. We know there was no defense there. But there was no Sunkens up. He was just starting to morph Sunkens while the third base or the fifth base was going down. Now another group of Hydras are going to get caught. Bonyth is approaching max now. He's going to start taking the corner base too. Mineral only is basically mined out for eOnzErG because he saturated it so well and taking it so early. And he's in trouble because main nat third base are going to be, gone in the next few seconds. A huge Hydra counterattack to bottom middle. I think this is the move that eOnzErG needed.
Yeah, but at the same time, well, eOnzErG does have a really defensible position here. The ramp is really, really terrible to push up onto, and meanwhile, he's going to get this bottom base. So actually, a huge blunder here from Bonyth. Really, the biggest attacking or the biggest location to attack here is that third base from Zerg. It's wide open. There's a lot of points of entry here for Protoss, and Bonyth finally moving into position here. And eOnzErG, he did have to commit a lot of his units up to top left to make sure that it doesn't die there. 6 storm from Bonyth right on top of all of the Hydralisks. But will eOnzErG have enough time to burrow a bunch of his lurkers? See how much space the Protoss has to work with here as opposed to top left where he has to battle against the ramp as well. He gets into position. The Dragoons are just wailing on top of these Zerg buildings. And again, those Hydralisks you were talking about, Nyokin, they're still stuck behind the third base from eOnzErG. So it looks like Bonyth has found the killer move, but at the same time, Bonyth is mined out at his main and as natural. His fourth died, just now building a fourth. So both players are going to be on a very low econ situation. But the thing is, Bonyth still has a pretty intimidating army.
Yeah, and there's only one observer. If eOnzErG had been able to take out that one observer, the lurkers would have reigned supreme. But for now, the third has been busted. One of the hatches is going to fall, at least potentially 2 other hatches. Now, eOnzErG does have multiple macro hatches at top left, but that's going to be half the production gone for eOnzErG. Finally, the Hydras are going to turn around and save the day. Luckily, he doesn't lose his Spire, and luckily he doesn't lose his Evolution Chamber. So at least he's got that going for him. But still, Bonyth almost maxed. He's doubling supply now. I think it's just he's taken too much damage at this point, and it's going to be so hard for eOnzErG to recover.
Yeah, I mean, Bonyth has done it, especially because he's taking the bottom right. He's going to be able to secure himself another base. Just looking at the supply, he's doubling the Zerg supply. And with this extra base here secured, he can continuously produce units out of his production buildings. And really, eOnzErG, I mean, he still has some mining at all of these bases. Of course, Zerg, because they can take more expansions and have fewer worker count per base, means they mine out bases lower or slower. They're much more efficient about it. So definitely eOnzErG still has some econ to work with, but I feel like the lead here from Protoss is very, very oppressive. It's going to be hard for eOnzErG to really make anything happen. And at this point, oh my god, those storms are absolutely incredible. Shuttles coming into play here, going to stretch out the Zerg defense that much more. And yeah, eOnzErG's going to need a miracle to pull a win here.
Oh, the Archon just pops like 4 more drones right there. And you gotta remember, main nat third base are all mined out, really.
Yeah.
So this is basically one base Zerg versus a Protoss player that just got a fresh base at bottom right. Sure, Bonyth is struggling in terms of resources too, but he has an unkillable army. He can sit and take a fifth base. Fifth base going up for eOnzErG, but that instantly gets denied. So now eOnzErG is going to be back down on one base. He doesn't have an army that can match this. All he can really do is go for the counterattack. And Bonyth, I think, recognizes that. You can see that he is motioning towards the third base instead of going to the top left. I think that is a smart move. Probe comes out as a scout, and he's going to intercept this army, so he knows what Bonyth or what eOnzErG is going for. He already has Zealot and Storm in position, so he doesn't have to turn around. And I think this is just going to be the game-ending killer move from Bonyth. Oh, another great Storm.
Yeah, oh my god, that even Reaver getting dropped here, so definitely that base is not going down, and with the defense of that base and Bonyth's counterattack here, he is going to seal this game. And my god, that was so clutch from Bonyth to pull out a win here, because he was definitely up against the ropes in that early game. Somehow he pulled it back and comes back to win this game, and that's going to be a bit hard, like a hard pill to swallow for eOnzErG, because he was at an advantage after that Mutalisk opening. Of course, the reality is eOnzErG does he does cut some corners to get that aggression going. You know, he didn't get that fourth hatchery fast at all. He got the Hydra Den even off 3 hatch, despite the fact that he was going Mutalisks. So really cutting a lot of his early eco to get that Muta timing going and to have that follow-up Hydra pressure behind it. But you know, it did catch Bonyth totally by surprise. So it is kind of a shocker that he was able to not die, to put it simply.
Yeah, I think it just came down to losing the Mutalisk. Like, they came in and got eviscerated, just completely off the map in a second. And then, you know, the Sares just were never used again. Imagine if in any of the fights he still had those Mutalisks.
Yeah.
Whether they get wiped out or not, they probably pick off a few Templars before going down. And that was a big swing in favor of Bonyth. eOnzErG was definitely still not out of it, but a big loss to lose all. It was a full control group too. It was not like 4 or 5. It was just like a full control group. So a big misstep there. But other than that, eOnzErG was playing very well. He got all of his bases up and running. He got his upgrades going. He got like 8 hatches. He denied the forge.
Yeah.
Everything was looking pretty good. But unfortunately, once the harass started coming in, just no way to keep up in the macro. And Bonyth does bring back one game for him, and he desperately needed it. Because if you're down 3-0 versus someone like eOnzErG, it's almost impossible to reverse sweep.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And again, the fact that eOnzErG did get into a decent position that mid game, you know, it's going to feel extra bad to lose this game. It's going to definitely have, I mean, who knows where his mental is at, but this is the kind of game that can shake your confidence a bit, because then you're like, wait, but I can't beat this guy in a late game situation, a macro game situation. So that might further accentuate eOnzErG's aggressiveness, but hopefully he keeps it together. The problem with Benzene is that it really does favor the player that has a tempo lead, right? So even if eOnzErG got into that macro situation, Bonyth was far enough ahead in the mid game that he got priority onto the map. And on Benzene, once you get your army on top of the 2 high grounds, suddenly you're threatening so many bases of your opponents while simultaneously defending your side. So, you know, all things considered, eOnzErG did get into a decent position macro-wise, and he was probably on even footing in terms of the production with the Protoss player. But on the map, that was completely different. And not only that, he had to deal with shuttle harassment, which is kind of odd that he didn't get more Scourge or anything like that, or the Overlords weren't spread out, because even though he did lose all those Mutalisks, Bonyth, at that time where he started going for shuttles, only really had 3 Corsairs, and 3 Corsairs aren't enough to assess kind of air domination. So definitely kind of mishandling some of that harassment, but you know, eOnzErG was not ahead going into that late game, so he can, or into that mid to late game situation, the macro situation. So it looks like we're going to be taking a break here for the players. You know, of course, you know, going nonstop for like a best of 7 is extremely hard for you know, the players need to just kind of chill for a second in between games. So with that said, I guess we're gonna go into a break, right? Yeah, so we're gonna go into a quick break. You guys
we'll be spared the Gypsy podcast with Nyok and special guests. So, see you guys in a bit.
We are back. We just got to see Bonyth take it back to 2-1. Desperately needed that win on Benzene, but eOnzErG still looking pretty good. I think players have picked maps, but I don't remember exactly what the fourth map
now you
is.
can
I know
open up our DM.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. Do your homework.
I was going to say, I know that Sylphid and Optimizer are the last maps. And this is a bit surprising that Reap the Storm is coming up, because the only way I think I'm seeing Reap the Storm is if Dandy's one of the two players and he's not here. So
yeah. Well,
very different pick coming in from someone.
Well, Bonyth did hint to this in his pre-game interview. He was like, this is a best of 7, and BSL only has 7 maps in the map pool, so definitely all the maps are going to be coming into play if we go the distance. Now, Reap the Storm, man, I don't think players really like this map at all, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's such an open map. I think most players kind of prefer stability and prefer being able to take bases a bit more just assuredly, I don't know, like just more consistently. Whereas Reap the Storm is the kind of map that, just given the layout, it really favors hyper aggressiveness off of kind of fewer bases. 2 bases, for example. Protoss obviously is always on 2 base. So, but definitely Zerg on this map has a harder time pulling off like a more passive style, kind of a more lurker-based style. But in eOnzErG's position, as the game is actually ready, so I'm going to finish that thought once we get into it. It is Reap the Storm. eOnzErG leads 2-1. Let's see who can win this game.
In the top left in the blue, we have our Zerg player. It is eOnzErG.
And in the top right, in that race car red, it is Bonyth. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this map is going to be good for eOnzErG. Though, I think this map, honestly, I think Zerg would be incredible on this map if they played like the Hydra Muta style, that a lot of the Koreans do play these days, and kind of skip out on lurkers. That's the one thing. Lurkers are really not good on this map. You don't have very concentrated defensive positions. It's very open. So it's hard to just post up all your lurkers in one spot and be like, okay, I claim this territory as mine. Because there's a lot of area to move around with Protoss. But if you go Hydra Muta, you kind of sidestep that problem entirely, and then you cause headaches for the Protoss trying to take a third base here. So I'd like to see that from eOnzErG, but this is definitely a map that is, I would say it's a bit harder for the Protoss player.
We do have both players going to get a first scout off. eOnzErG's on route to intercept that pylon at the front. Bonyth finds eOnzErG first at mid left. Does see that I think this was an overpool again. So everything just very normal. I am a bit surprised that we haven't seen Gateway expand from Bonyth at all yet, because that's going to be another Forge coming down. And you were just talking about how you prefer Hydra play on here. I think I'm going to have to agree. And this is going to be another opportunity for eOnzErG to go for something like 973, or potentially a similar Polypoid build that he already showed. Now, I think the drone got the first hit off right there. Maybe not. Ooh, the drone is trying to get away, but I think he might snipe.
Oh my
it.
god,
there he goes,
dude.
he gets it. And now he's gonna probably pylon block the natural too. Bonyth is floating a lot of minerals, so I'm hoping that he does have a cannon being built. I think it will be in time, but he's playing with fire there.
Yeah, that is surprising, but I do like this decision from Bonyth. that pylon block wouldn't have done much because he knows the overpull is behind there. So Zerglings are going to pop out and just kill the pylon. And instead, Bonyth saves those minerals up to put down his Nexus instantly. And against overpull, you can definitely afford to do this. Now, it's going to be a bit tight here because Reap the Storm does have very short rush distances, but the cannon will complete in time here. And with the gateway there, the one probe should be enough to block these lings. But eOnzErG missed his time to run by. Now, the cannon completed, he's going to be able to kill a lot of these Zerglings. Only one's going to get in. Oh my god, the miss though. 2 is enough to wreak havoc, but this should be okay for Bonyth.
Yeah, it is only 2. Third hatch going up for eOnzErG. He has started to mine his gas. Does not have 100 gas yet, so speed not coming along just yet. But that's a lot of probe damage despite no probes falling. A lot of them have been pulled consistently. Now we got to keep an eye on the gas. Okay, he's got 100 gas. He's got over 100 minerals. Is he going to put it into speed? No. Lair coming in, and I like this play because the Ling is doing a lot of disruption, and he's going to be able to see the tech.
Yeah, actually, on second thought, those 2 Lings could have been deadly there. But Bonyth is fortunate enough to snipe one of those out, and then with the last Zergling on half health, you can almost send probes after it to kill it, which is what Bonyth is doing at this point. So dealt with that run by beautifully, and now eOnzErG basically wasted his first 4 Lings, which means the Zealot coming in here is going to be really annoying because, again, hitting at a time where Zerg wants to be droning up, and not just that, Zerg does not have the benefit of having made early drones. He had to make those 4 Zerglings there, and being dead, he has to replace them. This one Zealot and one probe combination is going to do a lot of damage. The probe does get sniped though, which is huge for eOnzErG.
Blocked. eOnzErG supply blocked. Okay, oh my gosh, I thought he wasn't going to be able to build Lings. Oh, how does the Zealot always scoot by, man? It just always gets in, and he's like, yeah, I'm in here, bro. So let's see how much damage he can get done. Whether he gets a drone or not doesn't really matter. He can, force drones to stop mining for a few seconds. The Ling has been cleaned up in the main. Stargate, I think, was the build choice. Looks like, okay. How does he just turn back around? Okay, now I think he's going to actually get a drone kill. I just have a feeling. He's just too slippery. There he goes again. Oh, no. Okay, now he's going to fall. But that is definitely a Bonyth Zealot making way more damage than he really should. The Zealot got off a full scout, too. Saw there's no Spire there. Saw there's no Hydra Den. Probably suspects that it's at the second or third hatch. But I was a bit worried after seeing the supply block and Citadel coming in again for Bonyth. This was a little later, though, so this could be another speed follow-up like we saw on Benzene.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Bonyth's supply. It looks like he's getting stuck and just now building the pylon, so that's horrible for him. He's not going to be able to make probes. I mean, maybe at this point, he's going to be forced to cut a couple of probes early on. You're definitely probing still at this time, so very unfortunate pylon block there for Bonyth. Obviously, for both players, this is a high-pressure situation. Mistakes like that are not uncommon. But Bonyth, besides that, this game has gone very smoothly for him. I mean, that pylon block does hurt quite a bit. But that aside, the Zealot got a full scout. He forced a total of 12 Lings from eOnzErG in the early game, which is a decent amount given the fact that Bonyth did go for that 13 Nexus. Obviously, Bonyth's build is accelerated. The Corsair is out in time to spot the Spire, but importantly, he spots that there's extra hatcheries and the second gas is delayed here, so he should know that this is most likely not Mutalisks, or if it is, it's only like 5 at the most, which isn't enough to just end the game here. And he is going for the +1 Corsair with the fast Templar Archives. This is about as standard as it gets for Protoss. You're gonna have really early DTs out onto the field to complement the early Corsairs that just kill a bunch of Overlords, denying the detection there. And the DTs can put on a lot of map pressure to buy time for the Protoss to get his infrastructure up, to get tech out. So really nice opening here so far from Bonyth, but at the same time, eOnzErG is going to have a lot of space to just get his 5 hatcheries up, his Hydra Den, his Spire out, and, soon enough get that 6th hatchery going.
Well, it is a DT coming in for Bonyth. 2 gateways, so 2 DTs coming out. We may see a Dark Archon morph. in a few minutes, but not now because he's going to be obviously putting on a little bit of pressure with these DTs. I see that he's consistently building Sares too, so he's got all of his bases covered. There's going to be no way Mutalisks are going to snipe any of these Templars. Third and fourth gate coming up. He's got his probe in position, looking to build a couple more too. And this might start to get ugly. The Zealot did quite a bit of damage when it was at the 20 supply mark for Zerg, but Zerg got good saturation across all three bases. He's got 5 hatches. He's got a lot of hydras, actually.
Yeah.
Curious what his upgrades are at, whether he's got +1 being pretty close. He's going to find a stray Overlord. Supplies are very close, though, 56 to 66, but I think Bonyth is going to start shooting up very quickly. Oh, my gosh. Can he pop all of these Overlords? He's got a DT sitting and waiting, but it looks like this is a bit of an overstep. There's so many hydras sitting here.
Yeah. That was so scary from Bonyth, just flying in there on top of so many Hydralisks. Does lose, I think, at least one of the Corsairs, maybe even 2. But worth it, you know. I mean, drops Zerg down into the red. And eOnzErG is playing kind of low econ here. At this time, usually the 6th hatchery is on the way. That is also a result of the fact that he had to make so many Zerglings early on. Couldn't just get the 6th hatchery going ASAP. But staying on 5 hatcheries like this allows him to get a bunch of Hydras. So the thing with this DT is, oh my god, is the DT gonna sneak in here? These Corsairs are doing so much damage. This is the type of damage that the Corsair player wants. Now, eOnzErG does have a counterattack going to Bonyth's base, and I don't think Bonyth is gonna have Storm in time. He might. There's 2 Templar actually, so I do think he has Storm, and so this is a terrible situation for. I mean, Storm's gonna be really close, man. Usually it's not done by this time, and this timing here from eOnzErG is killer. Though the Sim City and the blocking from Bonyth is spectacular here. The 4 cannons are doing work. They're cleaning up all of these Hydralisks. Doesn't even need Storm. Storm is going to be really, really close to being done unless he forgot it, which might be a possibility here. No, okay, looks like the Templar are moving. That was kind of scary for a second there for Bonyth, but the counter damage that Bonyth got in terms of killing so many Overlords is huge. Storm coming in here.
Yeah, Storm comes in, it will save the day, but again, another denial on the Forge, so +1 armor or +2 weapon, not going to be coming in anytime soon for Bonyth. Luckily for him, +1 weapon did complete. I think he still has 7 gates, and like you said, there were a ton of Overlords that went down, yet still eOnzErG is crushing it in the macro. He's still at 60 versus 75. He did kill a lot of the Sares too, and those are expensive units to be building. They can basically almost be a Templar. Now, you can see that eOnzErG is trying to set up a contain, but I think this is a bit ambitious, and he should consider turning around because that's a lot of production. But it looks like he's got other plans. He's just going to keep rallying more and more. Meanwhile, Templar Energy is banking. I think there's going to be 4 Storms available pretty soon. So if he's not looking, yeah, like right there, Hydras eat a ton of damage. And that might be all that Bonyth needs to actually push out.
Yeah, I mean, eOnzErG looks like he's committed to this bust. It's still a possibility. All he has to do is bait out a couple of Storms, but he is taking too much damage. Now he's going in knowing that all the Storms have been depleted, but the earlier Templar that stormed right away actually had enough time to rebuild that energy bank as well. So I think he ran into 2 extra Storms that he wasn't expecting. And at this point, the aggression has been completely halted. Bonyth did not lose too many probes there, and you can see he's up to 6th gate, building 2 more most likely. He does have a bunch of Zealots, he has a bunch of Templar, he's going to be able to push out onto the map, and eOnzErG is trying to drone back up. He didn't get the drones in. Oh my god, that Storm was sick. So really, eOnzErG only has these many Hydras to work with. They are standing and DPSing the Zealots, and Zealots do melt against these +1 upgrade, not even +1 on Hydras just yet. So you can see that eOnzErG's infrastructure is struggling a bit, given the fact that he did go for this early aggressive move onto Bonyth, and you know, a couple drones being rallied, kind of a mistake there from the earlier rallying into that bust situation. But really, the problem is, look, no 6th hatchery from eOnzErG. His upgrades are lagging. He has to make drones here to be able to get up to 6 hatcheries and to be able to add more Evo chambers. But is he going to have time? I mean, Bonyth has so many units. He has so many gates. He has his upgrades going. He has his tech going. This timing attack here from Protoss is going to be really hard to deal with.
Yeah, the only thing that I see Bonyth doesn't have yet is I didn't see range coming in on his cybernetics, so there's not going to be any goons coming anytime soon. He does have a lot of storm though. He does have an Archon, so he can deal with some type of mutaswitch if it ends up happening. Now that is a shuttle coming out, and there are still 3 Templars sitting back in the base of Bonyth, so we may see some more harassment. It is moving out. I don't know exactly what's in it. I think it's like 2 Zealots and 1 Templar, so we'll see what damage he can get done. Almost doubling in the supply is Bonyth, 120 to 70. Lurkers are set up, and I haven't seen an observer. Oh, okay, I thought he might actually elevate her into the main. There is the Zealot drop off while he's going to attack the front. So this is just patented Bonyth try and make the game crazy, but he's not going to find any success because, like I said, there's a Lurker already set up.
Yeah, the Lurker is doing a lot of damage, but again, no +1 range from Zerg, so really these Hydralisks are not doing as much damage as I think eOnzErG was thinking they would. You really do feel that lack of upgrade as a player. You know, if they had +1, a lot of those Zealots probably would go down, but without that upgrade, Bonyth just pushes through here, and N is going to do so much damage. Still has a lot of Storm to work with, probably Storm on top of the drones. It doesn't really matter. eOnzErG lost his main mining, his natural mining is now shot. And, you know, Bonyth expanding behind this, making a bunch of units. eOnzErG just GG's. And we are tied up, Iokin.
Yeah, so Bonyth has now brought it back up to 2-2, and now momentum in his favor. And I thought that eOnzErG had, you know, everything going for him, but the Sares did so much damage, actually crazy amounts of damage. And then the Hydras did not find the success they needed, just ate a lot of storms, and that's all Bonyth really needed. I'm surprised that the drop did as much damage as it did, and I'm surprised that Bonyth didn't care about that 1 Lurker, but now Bonyth, I think, has found his stride. The first 2 games, it looked like, well, maybe it's just not his day, but obviously that's not the case because the 3rd and 4th game looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, and this is what it's like playing eOnzErG, to be honest. He, you know, his builds sometimes just kind of skimp out on a couple of things on key infrastructure stuff. Like on that Benzene game, again, didn't get that 4th hatchery fast, got the Hydra Den with the Spire, which is kind of a very low econ thing to do. On this game, well, of course, he had to make those early 12 lings, which was unfortunate for him due to how the opening played out. But at the same time, instead of opting to go for that 6th hatchery, he did go for a really, really aggressive Hydralisk play. And not just that, but it looked like he skipped the +1 attack for his Hydras, which obviously gave him a much scarier bust timing. But, you know, once that was dealt with, Bonyth just got into an incredible lead. And not just that, but he went into Lurkers, which is a huge investment to as an upgrade, as a tech, that really eOnzErG never had the infrastructure for. So, you know, Bonyth, just in general, any player that kind of survives that early game against eOnzErG, I think eOnzErG always is going to have a bit of a problem to transition into that later kind of mid-game situation, because, you know, he forsakes a lot of that early investment in his build to get that aggression out. So looks like the tides, the tempo in this series is kind of shifting here. Bonyth getting the upper hand, you know, down 0-2, now back to 2-2. Eclipse is going to be the next game here. Let's see who can take the advantage in this series.
In the top right, bringing it back to 2-2, we have our Protoss hope. It is Bonyth.
In the bottom left, the Belgian Zerg player. It is eOnzErG.
Yeah, so again, we have not seen Gateway expand all series long. We've seen 2 Forge expands. Shocking from somebody like Bonyth. I think we might see 1 base from Bonyth. I'm making the prediction right now that this could be it. Probe has not been sent out yet. And am I right? Have I done it?
No.
I was gonna be so hyped that we're gonna see another 1 base play, because as you mentioned earlier, Benzene seemed to be like a good map for one base play. We may have seen the Robo, or it was likely we may have seen the Robo one base play, but not going to be the case on Eclipse. And this time it is going to be Gateway Expand, finally.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because Eclipse does have, on these positions, it does have some interesting cannon rush spots. But because of that, a lot of the Zergs do open Overpool first here. Or, yeah, it is Overpool for eOnzErG. So finally Bonyth whipping out the 1 gate, kind of the bread and butter build here in this matchup in recent times. And Eclipse is an interesting map, American, because it is, again, another very positionally based map. Protoss has a hard, like, both players actually have a hard time expanding here, but Protoss especially, as that 3rd base, is getting that 4th base is so incredibly hard. But at the same time, Bonyth, or at least the Protoss player, has a lot of avenues to attack the Zerg player's 4th base, especially if eOnzErG chooses to expand to top left. Now, on this map, I do like it when Zergs do start expanding to the bottom right early and spread themselves out like that. We'll have to see. Again, the worker...
No.
And this is what happened last game, and because Bonyth went for the Gate Expo, he can actually afford to pylon block here as opposed to opening Forge Expo where, you know, you want to keep those minerals for the Nexus. So this should be a bit of a tell for eOnzErG that it's most likely not the same build as last game, given the fact that literally the same situation played out. But, I mean, that is really annoying as a Zerg player.
And what makes it even worse is he pulled a drone to sit on the ramp the entire time to make sure that he couldn't scout. And then he still loses the drone on the low ground. So 2 drones were not mining that entire time. Now, the 2 Zealots are out. They are going to have to lay back and wait, make sure that these Lings do not sneak on by. And knowing eOnzErG, when bad stuff like this happens, you know, we often see him transition into a super aggressive play. So I've got my eyes peeled on how many Lings start coming out of that hatchery. So far, it's just been consistent Lings. This is 10 Lings so far. He's pulled off of gas now. Second hatch did get scouted. It's at the 3rd base. And Bonyth knows the tendencies of eOnzErG. You can see he's building a cannon already preemptively. More Lings are coming out, man. I keep seeing streams of 2 moving consistently across the map, and I'm getting so worried that this is just already going to set up eOnzErG to either win with Massling, or he's just going to be devastated going into the mid game.
And this was beautifully read by Bonyth. A lot of the times against Overpool, you do want to just plop down that Nexus off the gateway and not get a Forge, but he kind of suspected eOnzErG essentially, instead of getting that 3rd hatchery, he got his gas instantly to get link speed to try and all in something like a gate into Nexus. And Bonyth just had that sense that because that drone was there blocking, this could be a possibility. And because he blocked the natural, this could be a possibility. So Bonyth, you know, not going for that greedy, it's not even greedy because against Overpool, you know, if you're gate first against Overpool, you always want to put down that Nexus before the gate. But because he knew he blocked the hatchery for that long, that opened up the minerals and the resources for eOnzErG to transition into more aggressive play here. Bonyth opted to get the Forge first, so this was genius here from Bonyth because if he went gate, the Lings would just flood there, kill the gate, and the Forge and the cannons would be way too late to defend. So absolutely amazing adjustment here from Bonyth. Honestly, guys, like it sounds like it looked like really simple from Bonyth to hold that off, but that was so beautifully, you know, just such a great decision from him, and it's gonna put him into such a strong spot because eOnzErG, he shot his economy. He had to make so many Lings there. Not just that, he delayed a lot of his, you know, his 3rd hatchery, and doesn't have the drone count that he normally would have. And at this point, Bonyth already has his core up. He's going to be able to get a Stargate out to be able to scout everything and to pressure the Overlords. Meanwhile, eOnzErG is struggling to get his 3rd hatchery up, and it looks like he's going to get a lair, but the lair is going to start. I mean, I'm not sure. I think actually he probably has a Hydra Den.
Great
that
job,
is
guys.
most likely a Stargate there from Bonyth. We'll have to see. Looks like it is a lair.
Yes,
oh my god, this is terrible for eOnzErG.
Yeah, Stargate is basically halfway done when his lair is going to, okay, when he's going to plop down the Spire. And Bonyth is going for a heavy tech build because he instantly got his gas at the natural. Eddie is ready. Thank you for the massive donation. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting BSL 10. We're definitely going to have BSL 11 and looking forward to doing that in the near future. Now, what is, okay, this is an interesting follow-up because like I said, he is getting a lot of gas at his nat. So I'm wondering where all this gas is going to go if he already has 3 gateways up.
Well, I think this means he's just going to go into Corsair production. There's a lot of ways you can follow up the Stargate. Last game, we saw him go for that Templar Archives early on for the quick DTs. This game, going for that 3-gate instead means that he's going to have a sick kind of 8 to 9 minute timing with 5 Sares, 4 to 5 Sares, and a bunch of Zealots to supplement that. So I definitely like this change of pace. But actually, at the same time, he is banking gas, so maybe not +1. And I didn't see the core spinning. Probably just going into straight Templar Archives. Yeah, this is really weird from Bonyth. Not quite sure what the intention is here, but he is getting gates early as opposed to last game, so he is going to have a much earlier Zealot pressure timing. The Corsair does come in here, does not have any kills, so actually eOnzErG luckily gets his Spire out on time. Really surprising given the tech timings of both these players. But yeah, I mean, Templar Archives here coming from Bonyth. It looks like eOnzErG is going to be okay here, despite that early game not really going his way. I'm not too sure about why the situation is playing out the way that it is, but you know, Bonyth still has a 20 supply lead, so that is pretty decent at this time. And now the Zealots are going to be pushing out way earlier than usual, so this is going to be annoying for eOnzErG because he is going to have to invest into making more units rather than just droning up.
6th hatch coming in for eOnzErG. He's got his Hydra Den up. He's got Sunken at his natural, but third base, not a lot of defense. Sunken may barely get up in time. I love this SimCity. The Zealots did kind of idle at that little spot right in front of the third base, so maybe Hydras and Lings, yeah, for sure he's going to hold it now. There's just really no angle for him to attack. Lings even going to come from the back. Now they do have +1, so Lings will get 2-shotted by the Zealots, but overall, nicely done from eOnzErG. Well,
the thing is, the +1 is massive here. Like, they're completely smacking those Zerglings down, and now the +1 is going to help with killing Sunk. So really pressuring this this base out, pulls the drones away. So that's a successful attack from Bonyth, and not just that, but he does scout the Mutalisks here, so he's going to be able to prepare for the counterattack in a minute here, and he might even get the Spire, man. These Zealots do so much damage. The Spire is so fragile, and eOnzErG does not defend the Spire, so that it is going to go down. The +1 is paying in droves here. More Zealots rallied in here. eOnzErG is feeling the pressure. I think he was trying to just go instantly with the counterattack with the Mutalisks because he knows that if Protoss has too much time to prepare for Mutalisk harassment, it just doesn't do the kind of damage that you're looking for. But unfortunately for him, because of that, he did lose more drones. He lost the Spire, and now Bonyth has 5 Corsairs. He has a bunch of cannons at every base, and yet again, eOnzErG not looking like he's not looking to be in the best position heading into this mid game here.
Well, losing the Spire is just a catastrophe for him because Protoss, we saw that Cybernetics was spinning. Now he's definitely getting +1 weapon, and guess what eOnzErG cannot do? He can't match the upgrade because the Spire's gone. So there's always going to be an air advantage. And we know that Bonyth also likes to go for harassment. So shuttle play is going to be deadly. Maybe not right now, but in the next few minutes, in the next couple minutes or so, Templar Zealot bomb is going to be super, super deadly. Now, it looks like eOnzErG can't engage those stairs. There's 7 of them versus 9 Mutalisks. He is going to fend off the Zealot attack simply because there's not enough Zealots, but he is in deep trouble because there's no counter for the Sares right now.
Yeah, these Sares are going to be so annoying, but some nice Scourge connections there. The fact is that these Corsairs, oh my god, the Mutalisks are just kind of chilling there. The Corsairs do not have +1, so maybe if he makes enough... Oh, he does. He did actually go back for that upgrade. So these Corsairs are just going to ravage Zerg so badly, and they're... I mean,
you're right now. There's no Spire. I don't know what I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh, okay, there's going to be Scourge here flying in for a sec. But because he killed the Spire means he can literally just fly around here uncontested. There's only Mutalisks, and these Mutalisks are not going to do anything against the Corsairs. They're going to come in here and kill a couple of High Templars. So really nice counter damage here from eOnzErG. These Templar are massive pickoff, but he loses all these Mutalisks, and all of a sudden, you know, these, because there's no Spire, man, Bonyth has so many opportunities with these Corsairs. He can do absolutely anything with them as long as he doesn't fly them over Hydralisks, which means that the Zerg player has to be so careful with their Overlords.
Well, here comes another Zealot engagement. This time, they're going to be meeting some Hydras and Lings, and they are going to be pushed back. Now, eOnzErG got about as good of a trade as I think he was going to get with those Mutalisks, wiping out 3 Templars that did have energy for Storm. 2 more have been built, so these Hydras should not be able to bust through. A DT ended up being sneaked out through the top. Now, eOnzErG, I don't know if he suspects that there's any Storms available because he just killed 3 Templar. So far, no Storm has been used just yet. Bonyth wants to line up a juicy one, but eOnzErG may be able to bust down the gate, may be able to take down the Forge again, so that's at least a good find for him.
Yeah, but I mean, Protoss is already at 1-1 upgrades, and you know, this push that's going to come out here is going to be pretty devastating. But at the same time, I mean, you know what's, it's so weird to see this play out, because Bonyth, honestly, from the opening, from what's happening in this mid game, from everything, he's gaining like every interaction between the two players has been favorable for the Protoss player. But this DT is actually inside this base, and there's no Overlords, man. This is insane.
There's no Overlord, and there's never going to be an Overlord because the Sares are sitting there and waiting, and there's 7 of them. That has 9 kills, 10. How many kills? 11. Oh, it hurts, man. He can start killing Hydras if he wants. Like, this DT has done ridiculous amounts of damage. And look at this. There's a 30 supply lead for Bonyth only because he was floating 1,000 minerals. Now it's going to be 50. And he's still got 1,000 minerals. So this is going to be a huge supply swing. eOnzErG has to drone, right? He's got a base at top left, so you know he's thinking about droning that too. So if Bonyth attacks right now, which is what he's doing, it's going to be at a very awkward moment where eOnzErG just isn't going to have enough.
Yeah, and eOnzErG doesn't seem like he's getting lurkers. He's on pure Hydralisks, which is fine. You know, it can do well, but not at an upgrade deficit here. He does finish +1 attack, but that's nullified by the +1 armor from the Protoss player. So upgrade timings are going to be really important in this situation where the Zerg player is super committed to Hydralisks. But with the 1-1, the Protoss units are going to be so sturdy and going to be doing so much damage to these Hydralisks that I feel like, yeah, there we go. eOnzErG definitely needed to get into lurker tech here, not having the upgrades necessary. You know, Mass Hydra is absolutely insane in this matchup, but you definitely need the nice upgrade timings on the range attack there. If, you know, by now, Zerg should be at +2. And, you know, if you have that upgrade advantage, the Hydras just melt Protoss units. But without that, he definitely needs a stronger composition. The lurkers are going to add that, but he is going to be playing aggressively with these lurkers rather than defensively. So we'll have to see how that works out. The attacking player usually in this matchup is at a great disadvantage positionally. 6 Storm on top of the lurkers. Again, you can see attacking with lurkers is so hard because you can bunch them up trying to get burrowed there. Another 6 Storm from Bonyth, but the lurkers do get into position, and it doesn't look like Bonyth has observers just yet. The robotics is there. Okay, an observer at the rally location. Another 6 Storm. Oh my god, these Storms are brutal from Bonyth, but at the same time, the lurkers do get into position, so Bonyth has to respect the damage output there. But again, he trimmed down the Hydralisk count significantly, so he should be able to clear out these lurkers. But if he does not do so before the reinforcements of eOnzErG get into position, his third base is going to be jeopardized. But again, so much time, but before the Hydralisks get in there, the goons are going to be on top of the lurkers. They kill 3 lurkers already, only 2 lurkers left. That Storm is going to be massive on top of Hydras and lurkers, and really more Hydras coming in. But again, they do not have the damage output due to a lack of upgrades, so eOnzErG is going to be pushed out here. But at the same time, he does have a 4th base. Bonyth secures his 3rd base, though, which is really important. Not just that, but he secures the 3rd gas, so he can start adding in a ridiculous amount of Templars into his composition.
Yeah, but eOnzErG has 4 bases, like you said. He's got 8 hatch production. Those storms, I think, save Bonyth the game, because I don't know how eOnzErG does it, but he was at 120 supply versus 130. And remember, he just lost 12 drones. So he's crushing it in terms of macro. If Bonyth did not get off such 6 storms there, I think he would have lost his 3rd base. Now eOnzErG desperately needs to defend. He's down 45 supply. Bonyth, he's approaching max. He's at 150. One more cycle will put him basically max. Now this might be a bit of an overstep, moving into high ground versus Hydra Lurker. So Bonyth for now, I thought he was going to back up, but it looks like he may continue to push the issue. The Hydras are so clumped up. Another storm would deal insane amounts of damage. There's not that many Lurkers though, so he may be able to actually push through this.
Yeah, eOnzErG though is playing out of his mind this game, but I think Bonyth found the attack that he was looking for. The thing is, as he pushes in here, he's going to be meeting more Lurkers at the bottom of this ramp, and you know, eOnzErG is going to be able to reinforce this, but still massive storms at the end there is going to help Bonyth push through the remnants of the defense, and I think he's done it, man. It was so close there. If those storms did not land the way that they did, Bonyth would be in such huge trouble, because you can see his resources. He's starting to bank up a lot of resources, putting a lot of his attention into this battle. He's not going to have that many reinforcements to complement this attack here. eOnzErG, meanwhile, is just completely poor, macroing his heart out. But that was a lot of damage to take.
Yeah, another Zealot attack is going to come towards the natural. There's nothing there. All that is there is a sunken and mass overlords. Bonyth is taking his 4th base at top middle, though. You can see that eOnzErG sees the attack coming, so he's trying to get some Lurkers in position. Nice double Lurker morph, but the Sayers are here. He may be able to catch a bunch of overlords. Hydra attack in the back, gets one of the Templars, may be able to catch a second one. So nice backstab, but still a 50 supply lead for Bonyth. But I'm wondering where his actual army is, because this is really not that much.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't that much, and Bonyth's macro has been slipping a bit here this game. He definitely should have had more units come in here. The Corsairs are still finding so much damage. That was so many overlords, around 1,000 minerals right there down the drain for eOnzErG. But at the same time, eOnzErG does have a killer economy. He has had an insane economy this whole game, and to be honest, eOnzErG's macro has been spot on. Bonyth really has just nonstop been gaining advantages every time these two players interact, but because eOnzErG's macro management has been so superior to Bonyth's this game, he's been able to stay in the game and even get, just get himself into such a good position. But finally, I mean, Bonyth is making a lot of progress attacking this 4th base, and he's taking his own 4th base. Meanwhile, eOnzErG does not look ready to take a 5th base of his own. He really needs to start expanding to the bottom right side of the map, but I feel like he thinks he doesn't have enough units to defend that, because once he starts expanding bottom right, then Protoss will start sending a couple of Zealots there to pressure that map, or that location on the map, and maybe eOnzErG just doesn't feel like he has the production to spare a couple of, some defense at bottom right. But really, he is on a timer. He needs to take a 5th base. Protoss, even bases, this is a dream situation to be in, and because the Protoss army is that much more cost efficient than the Zerg army. And eOnzErG is, he's up against the ropes at this point.
Well, this is what I was wondering if eOnzErG had. He does have Hive. He does have Defiler Mount. He may have Crack Link, but he doesn't have any links, doesn't have those link upgrades. Another attack coming in for Bonyth. A beautiful storm, but equally nice reaction from eOnzErG to avoid a catastrophe. Another good storm gets on top of those 2 Lurkers, and I think it's just too much Bonyth at this point. 170 to 106. He's got the high ground now from both angles, but eOnzErG is going to try and reinforce this, try and save the game. But Storm, I think, is going to be coming in pretty soon. No, doesn't have the energy, but there's just too much Protoss. This is going to be eOnzErG losing his 4th base. Well, maybe not. All that's left is Goons and an Archon.
Yeah, I mean, once the Storms run out, Hydra Lurker becomes absolutely incredible against the Gateway army from Protoss. So eOnzErG is going to hang on still. I mean, eOnzErG is playing insane, but he is, again, in a bad spot because he does not have a 5th base coming. If he does manage to push through this ramp, though, which is looking unlikely, again, Hydralisks do start missing on that ramp. which drastically reduces their damage output. You know, if Bonyth stays on these 4 bases, he's going to be in an incredible situation. I think there's a bunch of units rallied at his natural. He's going to be able to rebuild his death ball here. And again, eOnzErG just now expanding to bottom right. That Defiler amount is going to be huge. Oh my god, that's so many Templar, of course. Bonyth has access to 4 gases at this point. Even the depleted gases are going to be, you know, adding that much more gas to his economy, which means he can just happily produce as many Templars, as many observers. I'd like to see him, because he is at this point economically, I'd like to see him mix in more shuttles. You know, that's one thing that Dewalt does so well in this matchup. That shuttle harass in this stage of the game is so important, because it is so hard to break through Zerg positions. You know, Hydralurk is just so incredibly efficient against the Gateway army, but this is so many storms here. We'll have to see if he can land the storms that he needs to push here. Observer's kind of dying. I think he only has 1 observer left with this army. He has to stay alive to spot these lurkers, but sick engagement there from Bonyth completely decimates that Zerg force, and he is permitted onto this 4th base of eOnzErG.
Yeah, now he's going to get the drones, and now it's just, it's too much. He has so many storms available. Any attack from any angle will just get instantly blanketed, and DT into the 3rd base. He's going to get another 12 drone kills, no reaction from eOnzErG at all. And I don't even know if Bonyth realizes that the DT is there doing all that damage. He's just content with wiping out the 4th base. And now Bonyth, starting down 2-0, brings it back to 3-2, and all of a sudden, eOnzErG is going to be 1 game away from being knocked out of this BSL.
Yeah, I mean, the tides have shifted, Naokin. Bonyth is looking nuts now, and especially for a player like eOnzErG, who's so emotional, right? Like, it is, and just given his interviews, you know, repeatedly talking about how Bonyth and Dewalt, he feels like, are a level above him. I think getting into these macro situations, he just doesn't have the confidence to pull him through, despite the fact that, honestly, the reason why eOnzErG was in that game was because his macro is just better than Bonyth's, straight up. Because Bonyth, like, I mean, there's no, I'm not even joking about this. Bonyth, every single thing that happened that game was to Bonyth's advantage. Literally everything, the build, every interaction, every attack Bonyth did, incrementally put him into a better and better position. And somehow eOnzErG was keeping up with him because his macro is just substantially better. So that's why I don't get, if eOnzErG just plays his game, and a lot of what happens is that actually his build order choices and his overly aggressive tendencies put him into these bad positions to begin with. So obviously if he starts playing a macro game from behind, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. StarCraft is, you know, you can't just make up a lot of these differences, even through pure mechanical skill. But his overly aggressive tendencies, I mean, remember what happened in this game. Like, Bonyth completely stopped the, essentially it was meant to be a Ling flood, Ling all-in, completely stomped that, and like completely stopped it in the tracks. I can't even say how fully and incredibly dismantled that all-in was. But despite that, eOnzErG still fought back. And despite losing his Spire, I mean, just think about it, man. The Corsairs were there killing every Overlord ever made. The Spire died. Everything was going terribly for eOnzErG, and he still was even with Bonyth, and he almost pulled it back there. So, man, like, that's what's frustrating to me, is that if eOnzErG just dialed it back and just played very solid builds, he would be, I think he would be crushing these games. But as is, I think he's probably feeling like, I can't beat Bonyth in late game. I can't all in him.
Well, speaking of standard maps, we have Sylphid coming in, so this could be a good map for eOnzErG to kind of tone it down. It's a 3-player map. You can split it very easily. So let's see if eOnzErG can do it. If he doesn't, he's gone. So this is kind of his last shot. Let's see if he can do it. In the top middle in the blue, 3 in a row for him. It's Bonyth.
And in the bottom right,
in the red Zerg. It is eOnzErG. Now we've seen the game eOnzErG. Okay, the game that eOnzErG played against Bonyth on this map recently in the BSL. I forget if it was. I think it was in the round of 8. They played. No, I don't think it was broken, but I think he was going. Or maybe that was against eOnzErG, but I know they played a long game. Oh yeah, it was broken, and then we had both players as perspective, which was pretty sick. But the game that they played on this map was a really long game, kind of like the last game, and Bonyth essentially won it. So I think given everything, I don't know if eOnzErG feels. There's 2 ways he might feel about this, Nyokin, right? Humor me. I think either he thinks, okay, I got all in, I can't win. Or he's like, you know what, this is do or die. I'm just going to play my best game and hope for the best. And I hope that it's the latter, though I have a feeling we might see something crazy from him this game.
I think he's going to go for the macro play unless it starts getting dicey. Unluckily for him, again, he's going to get first scouted, but at least he's going to have the Overlord in position. You know, it's funny because I was thinking if Bonyth doesn't get scouted, I would like to see him pull the eOnzErG and pull the proxy 2-gate in the middle after going for the gateway expand. But now that it's been scouted, of course, the chances of that happening is extremely thin. Now, probe is going to be annoying, of course, going to try and deny this hatchery. At least it's not going to snipe a drone. If the probe snipes a drone in this scenario, I'm out of here. Like, it's just absurd at this point. Okay.
You made the
hatch does go down. I thought he was going to forget that it didn't build. It's so many times as a Terran player, you like tell yourself to build the depot. You're like, oh, it's building. And you look and it's not. So
yeah,
at least that does continue. Now back on Bonyth's side of the map. This is gateway expand.
Yeah, it is gateway expand, and this is overpool, so very standard here. This time around, eOnzErG did not go for something crazy like blocking. Well, there's no ramp to block, but you know, on Eclipse we saw him just well, he got blocked, but I mean on Reap the Storm he was blocking the ramp to put the gas down or something like that. But this game is going to be very standard, so I am liking this from eOnzErG. I just want him to play a very standard game here and get himself into a good mid-game position so that he can actually you know, flex his macro skills here. But this is hard. Bonyth, 1-gate is very oppressive. His Zealot micro is always spot on, always putting on a lot of pressure. You can see finding the most obnoxious locations. And actually, Bonyth is going for an early forge here, but eOnzErG is playing the standard style. He got this hatchery early on. He's getting his 3rd hatchery there. You know, honestly, overall, if he gets a cannon here, this is looking really good for eOnzErG as long as he doesn't lose any drones.
Yeah, he does have his 3rd hatch up at the 3rd base. Nexus will be delayed, but that's a lot of links to build for this amount of zealots. Of course, he's going to have... Oh, he barely saves that drone. Nicely done. Now, I wonder if he's going to come in for round 2. Oh, you know he's going to try. Oh, there he goes. That's a Bonyth zealot. Oh. Maybe a missed target there. I thought he was going to snipe a 3rd drone.
Dan, you're going to have a heart attack watching these games, man.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that zealot had 10 health.
Yeah.
And then it scooted by 10 lings, an entire drone line. It almost got that drone. I just don't understand how he always does it. Now, we do have 100 gas mined for eOnzErG. Looks like no lair just yet, no speed either, but because speed hasn't been started, I think this is just going to be standard lair follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if he actually went speed here, it would be so much better, free up some of those resources to continuously drone, and it looks like he's just going to go for a Hydra then. That's so unfortunate, man, because honestly, from this position, eOnzErG was an incredible spot. The thing is, he did make a lot of lings, but you have to understand that Nexus was so incredibly delayed from Bonyth that the 3rd hatchery from eOnzErG, relatively speaking, would kick in so fast that he can start droning up and completely outscale the Protoss economy. But instead, he's going to go for this aggro option that kind of it gives up the early advantage he got from the build orders. And this is the tendency that comes back and just punishes eOnzErG. Now, of course, that being said, he can definitely get some, you know, he can definitely bust the Protoss player in this situation. You know, don't get me wrong. It is going to be scary for Bonyth, but I think Bonyth just
kind of expects this kind of stuff from eOnzErG, and with the Zealot move out, because he's been making continuous Zealots this whole time, he's going to be able to get some scouting information. The Corsairs, or the Stargate, is also coming up soon, so the Corsairs are going to be able to pressure Overlords and then maybe open up some DTs to defend eventually against these this bus timing from eOnzErG. But these Zealots are going to spot the Hydralisks. Here they come. Only Zerglings though so far, so actually if eOnzErG camouflages this properly, but this is really bad for Bonyth. The thing is, Bonyth is trading really well, and oh my god, if Bonyth sees these Hydras, the jig is up.
Yeah, the pro, instead of helping face the Lings, for some reason goes into the main, spots the Hydras, and now he knows exactly what's going on. Instantly puts up a couple cannons. I expect Citadel, if it wasn't started, to just instantly be started. He's got a lot of gas because he got his nat gas pretty fast again, just like last game. But there is a window of opportunity right now. There's only one cannon. I don't think, yeah, those are not Hydras in position. So eOnzErG not going to be able to get much damage done, but we see that he's taking a 4th base behind this, so he's not going to be all in on it. He is just going to transition into some big macro play.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like this from eOnzErG, but the reality is it is a lot of his early econ there that was invested into making these Hydras. He had to make the Hydra Den, he had to non-stop mine gas with a couple of drones, so these hatcheries from him are slower than usual, and that's going to allow that's not going to punish Bonyth's slower Nexus, to be honest with you. So just in general, I mean, this is still a decent position here from eOnzErG, because Bonyth kind of delayed his Nexus unnecessarily. So, you know, we'll have to see how this evolves, but eOnzErG, he is getting the lair. I think he actually has a 5th hatchery at his 3rd base, so he did go up to 5 hatcheries before the lair, so really good from him. And overall, honestly, it is looking pretty decent for eOnzErG, all things considered. Bonyth had to make a lot of extra cannons, which delayed his gateways at his main, and behind this, eOnzErG is getting an incredible economy, incredible infrastructure. So we'll have to see how this evolves here. I think both players are more or less even, but it looks like eOnzErG is pulling. Oh my god, that 6th hatchery. Yeah, it looks like eOnzErG is actually in a really good position, man.
Yeah, his econ is phenomenal. He's almost even in supply. He's got 4 bases. He's got 6 hatches, as he pointed out. He's got enough Hydras to deny any incoming Zealot or sneaky DT run by. There's no 7 Sares out on the map where it's going to get really chaotic. So overall, this looks really good for eOnzErG. I'm not sure if he has a Spire yet. I don't think he does, but not a big deal for now. 4th hatch has completed, so that's going to get saturated pretty quickly. Now, back on Bonyth's side of the map, it seems he has a couple gates, but I don't see like that huge gateway flood, so I don't think he can actually push out anytime soon. Remember, he put down like 5 or 6 cannons at his... Oh, eOnzErG's going for it, it looks like.
Yeah, but the storm is done, and there's more than enough cannons, so... I mean, it's gonna have... I think the rest of the Templar are a bit fresh there. They don't have energy quite yet for Storm. Does kill a lot of these cannons, which will give him access to this forge, which is really annoying because it's in the process of finishing an upgrade, and if it's one... Okay, it actually finished there, so definitely didn't cancel that. That's pretty fortunate from Bonyth. Doesn't actually get punished too hard there, and he does kill a bunch of Hydras for free. But yeah, I mean, eOnzErG, we'll have to see. This was such an incredibly fast 4th base, but if it goes unpunished like this, and he's allowed to mine the extra minerals from it, which it looks like he is going to, because Bonyth doesn't look like he's going to have any Zealot pressure timing this game at all. Yeah, I mean, this is looking terrible for Bonyth, man. And he is floating a lot of resources. I do wonder, you know, aren't his builds off a bit, because he's... the timings are there, you know, like if you execute your builds, and it just, looking at this game, it doesn't look like Bonyth has any openings at all. And again, maybe that's due to just the Nexus, but this was also happening last game. You know, it seemed like Bonyth should have been in a much more commanding position than he was, and it's just not appearing, you know, on the map. It's not appearing on the game. So really wondering why that is. And lurkers are already out for eOnzErG, so these zealots are not going to do anything.
Well, I was going to say that I think this is going to be the only real chance that Bonyth can get any damage done, but with lurkers already out, that's not happening. So this supply count of 79 versus 96, this is going to be eOnzErG on 4 base, and we saw what he could do in Eclipse when he was down and he was only on 3 base. He brought the supply count basically to even at 120 supply versus 130. I'm not going to be surprised when I see him overtake Bonyth in the next couple minutes. He's just got insane econ right now. He's saturated across all of his bases. He's now got lurkers too. Bonyth at least has tons and tons of storms, and that's another way to get a lot of AoE damage. There's a Dark Archon in the mix, so we're going to have some Maelstrom play. But overall, this is eOnzErG's game to lose. He just has such crazy econ. He denied the Forge, like you pointed out. I don't know what his upgrades are, but I imagine they're pretty strong. If he can just keep Bonyth bottled up in his main, this is Sylphid. You can't really take, a 3rd base that easily. What's he going to take? The mineral only? If he gets contained, he's not going to take that high ground. Now here comes another engagement. But he's going to pop the Dark Archon before Maelstrom goes off. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, this is looking like such a bad spot for Bonyth to be in. He's struggling immensely here just from the builds, and it is going to be eOnzErG's game to lose, as you said, Nayok, and I totally agree with you on that. All he has to do is just play his game, and he should be able to win. Now, what does he do from here? I mean, because, once you commit to going to lurkers like this, automatically you have to play a bit... Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see that?
No.
Bonyth, no upgrades. So that Forge that died, that was not
a
completed upgrade. It was denied. So it's 0-0 right now.
I mean, that's terrible. Definitely Protoss relies heavily on upgrade timings in this matchup. Being behind on upgrades means his units are going to struggle that much more against the Hydralisks. But again, eOnzErG himself does not have great upgrades here, and it's kind of weird to see lurkers out, but no +1 attack. I think, again, not the best investment there. Bonyth is going to take this fight, but I think too many lurkers here, too many Hydralisks. A nice storm goes down, but the lurkers in position are going to be able to completely stop this attack from happening. And the thing is, when Zerg goes into very heavy lurker play like this, it's hard for Zerg to just straight up attack and kill the Protoss player. So really his plan here should be to take a 5th base and to go up to Hive and get his upgrades going ASAP, rather than just pushing the pushing the advantage and going for a Muta switch and trying to overwhelm the Protoss with Hydralisk. So that's the one drawback with going lurkers, is that it does make you very defensible. But look, Bonyth is double expanding on his side of the map, getting that mineral only, and now getting mid right, and it's really hard for Zerg to pressure that, given what eOnzErG has gone for. So really his only plan here should be to get up to Hive, to get the Filers out, and to get his upgrades going, but his upgrades are already delayed. So I don't know, man. I mean, despite the fact that eOnzErG was in a really good spot, Bonyth has a lot of space here to work with.
Well, now there's a supply lead for eOnzErG. He's up just a couple, though. None of the Templar have died, by the way. Okay, there's an Archon morph. So he has tons of Storm available, and that is a lot of goons, too, that have simply not died either. What we've mostly seen is just Zealots falling. So if the goons can combo with Storm like that, he might be able to bust through this Hydra and Lurker Ball. Another great Storm on the left side, but still a supply lead for eOnzErG, crushing it with the macro. The mid-right base has been scouted. That is not going to be sneakily taken for free by Bonyth. It has been scouted for now, but it looks like eOnzErG's not going to be able to deny it. Meanwhile, he's taking his 5th base of his own on the left side.
Yeah, I mean, that 5th base is going to be instrumental to this game, and Hive already done, so that's what I like to see. 14 minutes in, this Hive is incredibly, I mean, it's on time. This is the kind of timing you want to have for your tier 3 of Zerg. Definitely going to be looking for that Defiler amount to go down. He does have triple evolution chamber. Again, upgrades lagging significantly for eOnzErG. No +1 on the Hydras just yet. He is not getting punished, though, in terms of, Protoss should be at +1 armor soon. +1 armor does finish for the Zerg. This is a good fight here for Bonyth for the meantime, but I don't think he has enough units to push through this lurker swamp.
really is what it is. So many lurkers, but the storms are really nice from Bonyth. More units coming in here, and it's just a couple of goons, and it looks like the Protoss army is getting whittled down a bit. A few more storms connect with the Zerg units, which is really good, obviously, for Bonyth, but again, he's not going to have enough to push through here, which means that eOnzErG is going to have more time to... Okay, well, I stand corrected. Actually, he does get on top of these lurkers. The Hydras are not in position to defend here. Hydra's Link coming in, pushing the Protoss back into eOnzErG's 5th base. So at least now Bonyth knows there's a base there, but the static defense is coming online just in time to finish off those units, and that's going to be just terrible for Bonyth. And now he knows he's not in the best position, just lost his entire army, realizes Zerg is on a bunch of bases, and Bonyth, he knows his mid-right base at this point is a bit exposed. He has to send a couple of units there. He is transitioning into shuttle play, which is definitely good in late-game situations like this. eOnzErG looks like he's already anticipating it. The Defiler mount is a bit delayed, though. This should have been up at least a minute ago.
Well, here comes an attack at mid-right, but at the same time, a drop is occurring in the main of Bonyth. We don't know what it is. Okay, 1 DT and 3 Zealots. Of course, the DT gets moved into the drone line. We don't know if eOnzErG notices it at all because he's attacking top right. He's found an isolated 3rd base. There's only Zealots, really, and a couple Templar. No Observer. If cannon falls, there's going to be no vision. He's going to have to rely on Storm to deal with the lurkers. Meanwhile, DT, of course, has wiped out the entire drone line, but he's wiping out all of the probes and all of the Zealots, and this is going to be a 3rd base falling.
I mean, is it though? He's going to have a lot of units to reinforce. He needs to focus on this. Bonyth does. Okay, he's actually just going to sack that base. It looks like. So yeah, this is definitely really good for eOnzErG, but at the same time, I mean, losing your main middle line, losing the spawning pool here is really annoying. But yeah, for sure, I think this is a trade that eOnzErG is going to be happy with. The problem is these Zealots, and the problem is bottom left for eOnzErG, because he committed a lot of his units here to the top right. He doesn't actually have but he does have a Nidus. So he might be able to defend Zealots counterattacking there. And, you know, if Bonyth doesn't get any more compensation than he did, you know, this drop was good, but it's definitely not enough compensation for losing an entire mining base here as Protoss. So definitely Bonyth needs to get out onto the map and do something, and it just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and look at the comp of Bonyth. It's 90% Zealot, and a lot of them just took a ton of damage to 2 lurkers. So eOnzErG knows that he instantly pounces on it, tries to trade as effectively as possible. If he wipes this army, mid-right's completely exposed, because I think he lost the entirety of his army trying to save top right. So this is really all that's left for him. But so far, the Zealots are doing work. They're still holding strong. He does need to get up a better comp. He needs to start mixing in some goons, because obviously Crackling is going to eat them. Lurkers are going to eat them. Hydra's going to eat them. He needs a better comp to withstand the onslaught that's going to be coming pretty soon. We see that double upgrades are coming in for eOnzErG. Looks like a hatch is being taken at bottom left for eOnzErG too. And Bonyth right now, mined out in the main, mined out in the natural. He's mining only on 1 base. Meanwhile, eOnzErG's fine. He's got like 3 or 4 with a decent chunk of money.
Yeah, I mean, this is really not a good spot to be in as the Protoss player. Bonyth, though, is transitioning more into that late game style of Protoss, adding shuttles, adding reavers. He does have that 3rd gas to work with, which is huge for Protoss in this matchup. If he does reestablish the mineral only, he's going to have more income to work with here to be able to spend that extra gas. And if Bonyth does manage to take a 5th base, probably at this pseudo high ground here, it will be really good for him. But definitely, eOnzErG is in a massive position here. He is securing bottom left entirely, basically. He is getting his upgrades going. And it's really hard to imagine Protoss winning this game. Just based off of how hard it is to... How increasingly hard it is to play this late game situation out. This Nexus is gone. That's Crackling upgrade for you.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is that Nexus going to die? But obviously that was a dumb question, because it just poofed instantly. And now eOnzErG has Defilers out. He's got good upgrades. You can see he's got 1-2 on his Hydras. Probably has oh, that's probably a dead Nexus also if he focuses it down, unless the Reaver saves the day. Oh, look at the split off. Oh, he's still gonna get it. Maybe.
Oh my god!
I can't believe that survived. It
That's
survived what, with
hilarious.
like 7 health, but that's crazy. Okay, now here comes
Oh,
Plague, the most.
no.
Oh, it's disgusting, man.
I
It
hate to
hits
see
so
it.
many of the units, and oh man, all of his units are going to be so weak now. And he instantly runs into a lurker field, so that's not ideal. The shuttle's going to get caught, and that has a Reaver, and he instantly pops it. Now I don't know if there was double Reaver in there,
Yeah.
but a really nice find for eOnzErG right there. And if I'm Bonyth, I need to get off the map right now because he does not have a lot of AoE now with that second Reaver going down.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, eOnzErG is counterattacking this top right, but Bonyth in position. And Bonyth is also taking a 5th base here. So, Bonyth is playing very well. This is so hard to manage as Protoss. One of the hardest matchups or situations in the game. And the Zerglings find their way on top of this Nexus. It only takes 6 of them to kill that Nexus in the blink of an eye. It's really so insane how much damage these upgraded lings do to buildings. It's just annoying because it costs nothing for Zerg to do that. It absolutely costs nothing. Meanwhile, Bonyth is losing key buildings, key nexuses. eOnzErG has that side of the map secured. He has so many bases to work with. Now, of course, ending the game is another matter entirely, but, eOnzErG is getting to that point where he's going to be able to flood units nonstop on the map. Reaver harass. Shuttles are so important in late game PvZ. This is your tool. Shuttle speed is insane. It can outrun Scourge. Storm gets dropped here on top of a couple of drones. Not the kind of damage Bonyth was looking for. This one Reaver did pay for itself, though. Did kill a lot of drones. But yeah, this is such a steep mountain to climb for Bonyth.
Supplies still in favor of him, just slightly though. He does have 3-2. He's going to be starting to get some plasma shields and complete his +3 armor, but eOnzErG is trying to pounce on top of that 5th base. He does not want to get this up and running. Remember, a lot of this army was plagued, so it should just disappear almost instantly. Remember, it was 185 to 165 a minute ago. Now, all of a sudden, a 20 supply lead for eOnzErG. A lot of storm going down, but that might be all of the storm that Bonyth has available.
Oh my
130 to
God.
117, and it looks like Bonyth is just barely going to hold on.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I saw the beginning of that fight, and I'm like, the Protoss is just gonna get swallowed by the Zerg, and somehow he completely destroys that attack there. But, does it really matter? eOnzErG has like a bajillion hatcheries behind this. He has a bajillion econ behind this. The Zerg flood is going to begin momentarily here, and, Bonyth, I mean, he mined out his main, mined out his natural. He is on 3 base. If he can hold on to this 5th base and try and get maxed out, he has an avenue back into this game. eOnzErG is still not attacking, but here comes the first wave. At least it is going to be Hydra Lurker. It is hard to attack again with lurkers. You have to kind of inch your way in. The storms are extremely punishing if you just burrow your lurkers on top of one point. Darkstorm does go down. Oh my god, these probes it.
Yeah, Storm hits a lot of the lurkers, but there's no zealots here. So there's nothing that can actually kill the lurkers except for Storm. And that's going to be another Storm. It does kill, 1 or 2 lurkers right there, but an overwhelming amount of Hydras, and now a 20 supply lead for eOnzErG. He's knocking on the doorstep of Bonyth, but in Bonyth fashion, another drop coming around the side of the map. We don't know if Bonyth or if eOnzErG has spotted it, really, because of all the action going on everywhere. It looks like it has halted right in front of the Overlords. Now it's going to continue going into the 3rd base, or into the 6th base. But eOnzErG just continuing with the pressure. These Archons are going to fall, and I think eOnzErG may have busted through, but maybe not. The Storms are perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, though, because Bonyth lost that key 5th base, and eOnzErG, I mean, he is getting counter-harassed. This is the kind of move that Bonyth needs to keep this game even. He needs to limit the Zerg economy, because Eon's just non-stop producing units now that are, like, insanely upgraded. So we'll have to see here, but it looks like eOnzErG is going to have too much with the lurkers burrowing in here. He can even start containing the Protoss into his main base, because of course Protoss only has production in the main base. This Reaver is still doing a lot of damage, 11 kills so far. That's going to keep ramping up. So maybe this Reaver can find the kind of damage where if Bonyth cleans this up somehow, he's going to be in a fighting position at least. But it's looking really bad for Bonyth.
Another Storm blankets all of those Hydras, manages to save one of the Reavers. Second Reaver might get saved also. This Reaver at the bottom got 12 drone kills overall. But That has been compromised. There's no standing army right now for Bonyth. There's like one Archon, one Zealot, one Templar, one Reaver. That's it. Meanwhile, there's so many hatches for eOnzErG. Despite losing 25 drones or whatever it was, he can instantly rebuild them and get up and running again. He's continuing to flood this front. It looks like there is just barely going to be too much Bonyth for now, so he is going to be pushed back. But eOnzErG is up 35 supply. Another Archon goes down. Templar goes down. All of the heavy tech units are falling.
Yeah, I mean, but still, man.
Oh my god.
It's so close because Bonyth is actually doing so much damage with this shuttle. So if he can somehow manage to hang on, like the Zerg economy is pretty shot. You know, honestly, man, there is a possibility for Bonyth to hold on here and to convert this into the win because his shuttle harass is just on point, and he's still mining from that mineral only, I believe. He's still mining from the third base at the mid right, but I mean, yes, it is hard, and you can see the supplies are not looking good for Bonyth, but there is a world where Zerg loses this game because look, the shuttle is still killing a bunch of drones. Oh my god, so
It's
much.
still alive.
24 kills on that shuttle.
Oh my god, so many drone kills going down for that Reaver. A huge amount of drones transferred over on the left side. Lurkers are already set up in position, so I don't think it's going to find as much success if it goes over there. But what a lifesaver these two Reavers are, the one at the natural and the one harassing. Bonyth does have a decent army right now, but still a ton and a ton of red that I see constantly moving across the map. Can it get another connection? It does. That's like 30 kills from that one Reaver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Bonyth keeps up this Reaver harassment, there is a possibility. I mean, it is still such a steep mountain to climb because the reality is eOnzErG has so many hatcheries to work with. He can make so many drones, but I mean, and this is a lot of Hydralisks. If these storms are on point, maybe Bonyth can hold on, but this is looking like an insurmountable amount of Zergs to kill, really, and eOnzErG is pushing for the jugular here, for the kill move. Is he going to get it? These two Reavers are insane in the backline, just sieging down the Zerg army, and he has to focus the shuttle, but oh my god, Bonyth actually just cleans this up, man.
Look at the supply. There's a supply lead
I
now
know,
for
dude.
Bonyth. eOnzErG's mined out in his main, Nat, third base. Remember, the fourth base was running for a long time too, so that's probably mined out. Luckily for him, he still has 2 more bases, but this is starting to get ridiculous, the amount of damage that the Reavers are dealing. Luckily, every time eOnzErG comes in here, he's sniping all of the Templar at least. That one doesn't get sniped. He does more of an Archon, but Bonyth having the trades of his life, the Zealots are doing work, and now eOnzErG, honestly, he's fizzling out. I don't think he can make attacks like this anymore, and he may just be obligated to give the 5th base to Bonyth.
Yeah, I think so too, Nayak. And he has to just chill back and re-drone up because he does not have the economy to continuously fight this, man. And it's looking more and more like Bonyth is actually gonna steal this one away from eOnzErG. I mean, we'll have to see. Still, he has to deal with a lot of these really fully upgraded cracklings, but it is pure. I mean, it's a lot of Zealots. Zealots do still do well versus Zerglings, even in the late game. And with the double Reaver kind of complementing this attack, I think Bonyth is going to be able to at least deny one of these bases at mid left. And if he does, that would be massive. If the shuttle goes down, though, with those 2 Reavers, the game could. I mean, the game hangs in the balance here.
Is this over?
Thin. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to push into this base, but there's a Nidus Canal at bottom left here.
Yeah, but that's nice, but you have to have units to actually go through the Nidus. Also, they're going to be coming out clumped. I think Bonyth just did it, because once once Protoss gets in this position where they just start snowballing attacks like this, it's just an insurmountable position. Defiler and Hydra are trying to come from the back, but that doesn't help in this scenario. Darkstorm doesn't help.
God.
This is over. Look at the supply. 65 to 125. Literally literally 2 Reavers salvaged this game for Bonyth. And now we have 2 other hero Reavers in the back. They have 30 kills combined. And look at that 5th base for eOnzErG. It's mined out. All he has is bottom left.
Yeah. This game...
What?
That one shuttle, man, I'm telling you, man, I know this situation at Zerg, it does happen sometimes, dude. You know, you just want to end the game, you're at a massive advantage, but the harass continuously comes, and then you feel like, okay, I just got to press my advantage, make sure the Protoss doesn't take another base, he's on low eco, but then the Protoss just sits there and trades beautifully because they're already in a defensive position, and suddenly the chipping away at your economy becomes a massive problem, and you just don't have any more workers to supplement your insane hash rate count. So just incredible play from Bonyth to stay in this game and find those kills with the Reaver shuttle, with even the High Templar harass, and really just such a shame, man. eOnzErG is going to be kicking himself for this game because really, as we kept saying, it was his to lose. Bonyth playing out of his mind, though.
Yeah, I think this is the last attack from eOnzErG. Of course, that Reaver connects. It gets 6 kills, most of them being Hydralisk. He has 4 Reavers now. There's no angle that you can attack with as Zerg, 5 Reavers even, with Hydralink. Okay, and that just makes it just pains my heart to see that half the drones aren't even mining either. Shuttle may get intercepted. Okay, it gets intercepted, but there's still 3 Reavers left over. 48 supply left for eOnzErG versus 140. He sees the bad news that the 5th base is up and running. He's down to 1 base mining. The GG is coming any moment now.
Yeah. Whoa. Are we teleporting into another reality here? BSL 11 going into the future. Apparently, we were trying to get the first person there, but it wasn't quite working. And eOnzErG, yeah, it is his dying breath here. He knows it. Really, what a sick series this was from these two giants of non-Korean StarCraft. And I thought it was going to go the distance, man. I thought we were going to get Game 7, but this was worthy of a Game 7. It was worthy of this epic clash. And Bonyth, by the skin of his teeth, is going to get out of this series versus eOnzErG. And just incredible performance, honestly, from eOnzErG, getting this far into BSL 10. Just playing out of his mind the past couple of series here, and even against Bonyth, really putting him up against the ropes, especially in those first games in the series. But Bonyth somehow just hangs on, and this game was basically a metaphor for their series. GG comes in from eOnzErG again. What a game, man.
Yeah, just a ridiculous game. Obviously heartbreaking for eOnzErG, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Bonyth with the trades of his life. 2 Reavers, 1 at the Nat, 1 at the doing harassment, getting 30 drone kills. And we don't even know how many kills the Reaver at the Nat killed, like how many Hydras they killed. It seemed like infinite. Also, he popped like 5 lurkers. Remember one Scarab getting 3 of them in an instant. So amazing save from Bonyth, and he's going to move on to face Dewalt in our final game.
Yeah, guys, and that's going to be today. Okay, it's not this broadcast. I mean, we're already 3 hours in. We're like, oh my God, this was incredible. Can it get better? And yes, it can, guys, because Dewalt versus Bonyth is coming up in a couple of minutes. So don't turn that dial or whatever, man. Just stay around with us, guys. We'll see you in a bit.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going into a post-game interview now with Bonyth, and we're also joined by Caster Muse. So if you're interested in the Korean stream, definitely check him out on Africa. So first off, congratulations to you, Bonyth. Now you got to tell me, how on earth did you take that Sylphid game?
Truth be told, I don't know. Rivers are hardworking guys, so thanks to them, I made a comeback. Seriously, I was thinking about 7th match in my head because I was like, okay, this is not going well. So, but yeah, I still kept playing, maybe with some shuttle harassment. That's the only winning condition I had. So I tried to harass as much as possible.
Yeah, there's 2 things that you do every single game. The Zealots always get in and deal tons of damage, and then the harassment is on point. I don't know if you know how many kills that one Reaver got down at the 4th base, but it had like 30 drone kills, just an insane amount. And at the natural, the one Reaver, I don't even know how many lurkers and hydras you killed, but definitely the heroes of the game. So other than the Sylphid game, how do you think the series played out? You started out 2-0, but then I guess everything just started clicking because you came back with 4 wins in a row.
Truth be told, I'm not where I want to be yet. I feel kind of rusty, but so it became apparent during the first 2 games. Just let's go each game. Bubbles was the first map, so in theory, I thought I was doing everything correct. I left 2 Zelts at the ramp, but still that wasn't enough. So maybe if I help the Zelts with probes, maybe that would be the game-changing move, and then continue my journey with the rest of the Zelts. But it's hard to judge. So too bad about that. Then we had the second game that was on Polypoid. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, so that Zelt and a probe that didn't block links from entering. That's top right position. It's the position I hate the most because I don't know, for some reason I can't quite find a good position to block Zerglings from entering, and that just happened, and a lot of chaos happened. And then the 4-0 win streak happened, and I felt pretty good about that.
Well, you're going to be rewarded, I guess, by playing a best of 7 again, now up against Dewalt. Now, we know that you fell to Dewalt in the round of 8. How are you feeling about your matchup versus Dewalt?
Well, Dewalt has become incredibly strong, so strong. There is some, I don't want to say fear, that's not the word, but I suppose respect. But on the other hand, eOnzErG warmed me up quite a bit, so I feel good right now mechanically.
Yeah, you will be warmed up, so that's definitely good going into your next best of 7. So let's go to Caster Muse now. Caster Muse, do you have any questions for King Bonyth here?
I was going to ask to Bonyth the question for dialogue-related things. So if Dewalt join this room, I want to expose players. But I can ask to Bonyth earlier. Are you confident of winning grand final games? And if you think you are going to win, what's your expected score?
I'm sorry, I'm quite deaf. I have no problems talking English, but I am quite deaf to hear.
Your expected score if you're going to winning the grand final.
Oh, expected score. Oh, that's such a rough question. So do I say like I lose 2-4 or something? No. We're winning.
We're winning, of course. It's King Bonyth. Of course, he's gonna win.
Yeah. Actually, I have one question here because we have Caster Muse on the English stream with us. Can you tell us how have the Koreans been enjoying BSL, and are there any favorites? Do the Koreans like certain players? Are there fans of like Bonyth, for example, of Dewalt? Or how do they take this tournament?
I was surprised because the games have higher quality than I expected. So I think it's a good way to. But there's one problem because it's too late in South Korea.
Yeah.
So So if time zone is good for Korean, much more people like BSL, I think.
Right. Yeah, and again, incredible thanks, obviously, Caster Muse, one of our bridges to the Korean scene. Always setting up stuff involving Korean, even show matches and stuff. So definitely, guys, if you can show Caster Muse some love, follow him on Africa, right? And on, do you have a Twitch stream as well? Do you stream on Twitch sometimes, or is it just
I
on
have
Africa?
my Twitch channel.
Yeah, so make sure you guys do follow him because, you know, any people from the Korean scene that are willing to kind of make relationships with the non-Korean scene and kind of get us together, I think is the most important thing. And I know we all appreciate your work on this. And the last thing, Bonyth, are you not tired at all getting into this best of 7, or are you ready to really play your best games?
I feel better now, right, as I am right now, than I was against eOnzErG. Okay. So yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, that's it for me, Naokin. I don't know what else you would like to.
I want to see these games, man. I want to see if it's Bonyth again at the top, or is it going to be Dewalt, a new Protoss champion? So good luck, Bonyth. I'm rooting for you, of course. I want to see consistent king taking the throne. So good luck to you, and we'll see you in the finals in just a few minutes.
Thanks, and see ya.